Mike. Bienvenido Padawan. Mike. Comenta. _buenas, _buenas. Diego Alonso. Bienvenido Padawan. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _ y voló. Jaciel García. Bienvenido Padawan. Jaciel García. Comenta. Hola. Mumasin. Comenta. Saludos a todos y disfruten la transmisión. Jesús Lizarazo. Bienvenido Padawan. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _hola. Jesús Lizarazo. Comenta. _buenas, buenas. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _jaja, _dobabes, _dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _buenas, buenas, buenas, y voló. Jesús Lizarazo. Comenta. Hoy no se banea a Diego Alonso, ahora es mi pana, parcero, llave, cuate XD.
Across the globe are attending, each aspiring to etch their name in history as a Pokemon International Champion. The stage is set and excitement fills the air as history unfolds before our eyes. Get ready to see the amazing skills and strong will our trainers wield in the upcoming Pokemon battles.
Comenta. Ayer casi me regaló una suscripción de Miguel Go.
We saw a familiar face in Pokemon Go.
I was just like really hyped up because it was like a super close game and I didn't think I was gonna win, so when I did I just kind of popped
Mike.
off.
Comenta. Jajaja.
Taking this man's game and is your North America International Champion.
For VG, Berna came out on top.
Mike. Comenta. Pero mío no sonrisa con cuernos ogro japonés.
I feel amazing. It means the world to me to be back.
Diego Alonso.
Last season,
Comenta.
TTV
El
was
legal
all the
Suagrón
rage.
333 estará en esta transmisión. El viajo ayer en Hawái.
It took everything within us to make it happen, and we're just so glad we're here.
Mike. Comenta.
And
Oye, pero
finally,
acá casi
Cyrus
está en
Davis
prisión
made
por
history with
abuso
their game through
S3X0 @i.
We see a winner right here. Cyrus has the artillery. Rapid strike search for the Tower Waters. Attaches the water energy. It's over.
Winning this
Jesús
event means
Lizarazo.
everything to me. It means
Comenta.
I left a mark on the history
Suagrón
of this game.
As we head into
333 es chido.
NAIC, the competition is vast. It's going to take courage, strength, and strategy for any contender to triumph over their rivals.
But we're going to see the wicked ball, but no! It was decisive! And then gets onto Swampert. What is it? Another super rod. This is going to be massive. Dragonite outrages. Into the front bay!
Jesús Lizarazo. Comenta. Jajaja, no lo baneen, guardalo para esparsuripanta.
Hello and welcome to day 2 of the 2024 Pokemon North America International Championship. I'm Anna Prosser, your host, and as always, I am absolutely thrilled to be here this morning. Day one was filled with upsets, standout victories, and we are so eager to see the competition
Diego
start
Alonso
today.
comenta. Ese Suadrón 333 creo que es el que hablará durante las batallas de PvP el Pedro o Pedro. Armando Bellos. Bienvenido Padawan. Armando Bellos comenta. Hola.
Are the day one standouts that they'll be looking to keep their top spot and not fall into the losers bracket. Yesterday, we crowned our North America Regional Champions Orange Juicers in Pokemon Unite, who will be joining us in Honolulu in a few short months. Today we have one more slot
Mike
to fill in Pokemon
comenta.
Unite in the final
Hola
stretch.
mis bros.
Will it be Team
Jesús
YT,
Lizarazo
Ignorance, or someone
comenta.
else? Stay
Chicos,
tuned
no
to find
olviden
out.
ir dejando su like.
Henry Chow, Ryan Antonucci, and Keito Arai are at the top of the TCG standings. But will they make it to the top 8?
Armando
The
Bellos
top 4? To
comenta.
finals? Stay
Van a
tuned to
ver
find out.
códigos.
And
Diego
lastly,
Alonso
in Pokemon VG,
comenta.
Aurelian Sula,
Guión
Eric
bajo
Rios,
Atúpida,
and Wolfblick
guión
have
bajo
some
Fatality,
serious
guión
competitive
bajo
energy
Shiny,
between them.
guión bajo
Who will make
Shiny,
it to tomorrow?
guión bajo jaja,
It's
guión
anyone's
bajo
guess.
jaja.
Each match today is worth that much more than yesterday. So give it your all when you're cheering for these players. And even if you don't know who you want to cheer for next, just showing your support will be a great help to all of them. As a reminder, we have Worlds 2024 coming up in Honolulu, Hawaii later this year. And some of these trainers are still working to secure their invite. We want to give a huge thanks to all the staff, judges, and production crew. You are the behind-the-scenes heroes that make events like this a success. Yeah. Now as we start the day, let's find out
Armando
who will make
Bellos
it to the top 8,
comenta.
to the
Bye.
top of their bracket,
Diego
and
Alonso
who will be crowned champions
comenta.
this weekend, securing
Guión
that
bajo
invite
buenas.
to Worlds. So trainers,
Diego Alonso
are you ready?
comenta. Guión bajo Fatality.
They look ready. Casters, it's your show now.
Whether you're walking down Chapatula Street
or strolling along the streets of Terpsichore,
you'll hear the syncopation and soul of the jazz bands.
view the spectacle and colors of the Prideful March.
And for the first time ever, feel the fervor of Pokemon Go battles right here in New Orleans at the North America International Championships.
I'm AlphaFube.
And I'm DeFi 250, and we are here together to bring you all of the action of Day 2 of Pokemon Go here at NAIC.
And it's been a long road behind us. We've traveled so far along it, starting in Sao Paulo in Latin America, going through and across the pond over to London, and we ended up now in New Orleans.
And there is so much on the line. The first place trainer is going to get 500 championship points this weekend. They are trying to secure their invite. They're trying to secure their travel
Diego
award, their
Alonso
travel stipend
comenta.
to get to Honolulu,
Guión bajo
Hawaii.
Dobabes.
And this is their last chance to earn those championship points, but that's not all that they're fighting for. They're also fighting for an immense prize pool, $5,000 for first place. We're doing a lot of counting yesterday, Stephanie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at how high I can go up to that top first placement.
Yes, and there have been so many trainers who have already qualified for Worlds. Who is going to join
Armando
that
Bellos
list this weekend? We
comenta.
have so many trainers out there. We have 132 spots available for Worlds qualifiers, and we are going to see page
Diego Alonso
upon page of
comenta.
fantastic trainers. We
Guión
also
bajo
have featured here
Acambe.
the APAC
Diego
trainers,
Alonso
trainers from
comenta.
EU. We have trainers
Guión
from
bajo
LATAM,
Vanello.
trainers from the North American
Diego Alonso
region. What stands out
comenta.
to you here, Nick?
Honestly,
Guión bajo
the
Cosita.
diversity of all of these names coming from all across the world, like you had said. And additionally, we have so many of these players who are already qualified here in the event at NAIC. Enhoff, S. James, Zimmy Kid, Yakovovic, players from all over the world competing, fighting for that chance to win it all and become
Armando
the world
Bellos
champion in
comenta.
Honolulu, Hawaii.
Lo bugué
But you can see there are some empty spots, and those spots will fill tomorrow at the conclusion of Championship Sunday. We have trainers who are well on their way to make that qualification and add their names to history.
Vanello,
Maybe those of you at
Vanello.
home could use a reminder of exactly all of those intense plays that we had yesterday. We have top battles, we have spicy battles, and we have the best battles for you at home in a recap.
Yes, and I am already ready. Let's go ahead and take a look at that top matchup of the day. I am so ready to see what we have in store for you. Here we have Zijwilis versus Bopper. You can see the Shadow Ball. The Azumarill is able to knock out the Skeledirge. Take a look at look at that moment, slamming the table, all of that adrenaline from Zijwilis.
And who can forget the intense play that Zijwilis made by waiting and throwing before so that that Incinerate landed onto that Charger Bug to do lots of damage, and moving into the most hyped matchup of the day.
Diego Alonso
landing
comenta.
the Aerial Ace, resisted by the electric typing of that Lantern, still enough damage to pick up the knockout and secure victory in game number 3.
We are in New Orleans. We have to talk about Spice after this, but let's go, baby! I love it, Ashton Ash, but we gotta talk about Spice here in New Orleans. We have PokéMon with that Goodra, and we love that he's bringing it now because Community Day tomorrow is going to get a brand new charge attack of Thunder Punch. So using it now with its original moveset of Aqua Tail and Power Whip, and just showing domination.
Somos 8 espectadores, dejen su like, por favor.
Marto Galde shaking the hand, applauding his opponent. Something I always love about this community is just the respect that the players have for each other.
Another spicy pick there that wasn't quite mentioned is that Shadow Charizard. Kind of a tip of the...
Ahí está mi ex. ¿Lo saludo? ¿Lo ignoro? ¿Pensará que aún me gusta?
Ay, X, que vea lo que se perdió.
Esta es tu buba señal para bajarle al estrés. El chiste es disfrutar. El chiste es bombear. Búbalo.
Diego Alonso comenta. Los que estén en el directo dejen su like.
The hat to last year, where Shadow Charizard was the dominant force of NAIC of 2023.
Yes, Shadow Charizard has roared through the meta today and has just been burning things down. We have seen some fantastic Pokemon out there.
Yeah, and up next we have some fantastic Pokemon, as you had mentioned, coming to the game. We have Community Day that is happening this Sunday. Get the shiny Gumi. I know you're still looking for yours, Stephanie, but in addition to those shinies, you have incredible event bonuses: 2-time catch candy, 3-time catch Stardust. That's what's caught my eye here.
Yes. What else has caught my eye is all of these fantastic trainers. If we take a look at our top trainers from North America that are here to defend their place, so many of them are here, but trainers, Dunebug, Rise to Occasion, they're out of the tournament already.
Nighttime Clasher, Lyle Jeffs are not here. So certain trainers, if they earn enough championship points here, could actually usurp Dunebug off the top of the list, depending on exactly how well they place. Be very curious. You know, of course, you don't necessarily get anything from being #1, but you get a badge of honor saying, I was #1 on the leaderboard for the year of 2024 for Pokemon Go.
And not just New Orleans. We have plenty of trainers who have traveled here from the European region. We have not here this weekend, but I have to shout out Colin and Palasha because they have been showing us fantastic battles in Europe all season long. Palasha with that Shadow Magnezone. We actually saw quite a bit of Shadow Magnezone play earlier yesterday, and I am so excited to see more.
We have at least 3 players still from the EU region in competition, but there are plenty of trainers from that LATAM region, and a number of them are on this leaderboard as well. I believe we saw Rarjev getting knocked down in the winners finals for his bracket.
Diego Alonso.
I think Andrew Menarez has been knocked out as well, but
Bajo
Zardy
Atúpida.
is still in this.
Atúpida.
Yes,
Bajo
and
Dobabes.
I am excited.
Bajo
We have seen a
Atúpida.
lot of great
Bajo
representation
Acambe.
from
Bajo
across
Ola.
the globe. This is
Bajo
a global
Fatality.
game and a global community, and most certainly a global competition. Moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at what us casters thought were going to do well this weekend. Quagsire up at the top. I think Pedro and I have it on lock. Quagsire has been doing so well this weekend.
Unfortunately for me, I have to say my picks, at least 3 out of the 4, have not shown up as strongly as I would have liked. Tapu Fini had a little bit of play. Guzzlord didn't really show up all that much. Whimsicott, I don't think we've seen it at all. I know Arrow brought that on his team, but we did not get a chance to see him on stream. But that Mantine did show up in our top recap from yesterday.
We've also seen that Charizard, that Guzzlord. We've seen a little bit of that Bastiodon. Will, where is that Chestnut you were talking about?
I'm not sure what he was thinking when he chose that Pokemon, but to be fair, we also didn't see Whimsicott, so I can't be that critical of him. In addition to those Pokemon, we have 3 trainers to keep an eye out for. That would be none other than Z's Wireless, Rocha Babyface, and Out of Pocket.
Yes, 1 from each region. We have champions, legends from Europe, from Latin America, from North America. Who do you think is going to take the title of champion of the North America International Championships? Let us know in chat right now. Who are you rooting for?
I feel like out of those 3, I'm going to have to root for Out of Pocket. I want the championships to stay within North America, but call me a little bit North America biased. In addition to letting us know who you think will take it all, make sure that you're also keeping an eye out for those Twitch drops. You had the European International Champion team with Altaria on it. You can earn that Altaria from the research, get yourself some charged TMs and some fast TMs, as well as that useful Stardust.
And Nick, you called me out yesterday, but I am a big fan of the trading card game. And you can watch Pokemon TCG on Twitch and earn Twitch drops for some Twilight Masquerade packs. You can get the Walking Wake, the Iron Leaves. You can get some coins, some of those purple gems to really help you with that trading card game live.
And I called myself out a little bit as being a fan of the video game. Of course, we have Niels' Porygon 2, a Trick Room setter for the video game. The moves it's carrying is Terra Blast, Ice Beam, Recover, and of course, the all-important Trick Room, which changes the dimensions, twists those dimensions so that slow Pokemon will move faster than fast Pokemon.
Yes, have you been out there earning these Twitch drops? Are you trying to go ahead and play like the best of the best in Pokemon Go, in Pokemon TCG, and in Pokemon VG? If you have been out there getting these Twitch drops, go ahead and let us know using that hashtag Pokemon NAIC and hashtag @PlayPokemon, /Pokemon, all across our social media. We want to hear from you. Let us know, who are you rooting for? Which Pokemon is going to take it all? And most importantly, are you having fun out there? Take pictures of this amazing arena. Take pictures of the event. And of course, we always shout out, take pictures of your pets at home. We love to see them.
And follow those channels so that you don't miss a minute of the action. I think that's been about it for us, Stephanie.
I think it is. So as they say here in New Orleans, laissez les bon temps rouler. Amanda and Will, let the good times roll.
Thank you, Deepa. I'd say it back, but I don't think I can.
That was impressive French, right? I was actually reading up on some of the common
Mike,
slogans here in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and let the good times
¿En
roll
dónde
is
está el
definitely
directo
among
oficial?
them. Well, we're just getting started, Amanda. I'm so excited to kick off day 2 of the North America
Mike,
International Championships
comenta.
2024.
Yeah,
No
but
lo
before
encuentro
I'm
en
gonna update
Twitch.
it, let the good times rock and roll. We're going to go ahead and let everyone get to know how we actually play this game, because if you're not familiar with the format, it's a little bit different than what you would see in Go Battle League. This is a show 6 pick 3 format. Instead of us talking about it, we're going to go ahead and explain it in this video.
Ikamoto Tore. Bienvenido Padawan. Ikamoto Tore. Comenta. Saludos Mu.
Louisiana. Trainers from around the globe are here to compete for over $500,000 in cash prizes, booster packs, and championship points to qualify for Worlds 2024 in Honolulu, Hawaii. This tournament is a 3-day event with our trainers competing in a double elimination bracket using the Great League format in
Diego
POKÉMON Go
Alonso.
until only 3
Comenta.
trainers remain at the
Tienes
end
que
of
irte a
day
su
2.
página
On
oficial,
day 3,
Mike.
Championship Sunday, our trainers will compete in the final matches until a champion is crowned. Matches are best of 3, except for winners finals,
Culero
losers
con Nor.
finals, and grand
Bienvenido
finals,
Padawan.
which are each best
Culero
of 5.
con Nor.
All matches are played in
Comenta.
a bring 6
Este
pick
es
3
el canal de
format.
Nandi.
This means trainers
Diego
will play
Alonso.
a team of up to 6
Comenta.
Pokémon, but only 3
Ya lo
are
intentaste.
brought into each game. Who is taking home the title of North America International Champion? Will Wurach be able to defend their crown? Who will secure the points to qualify for Worlds 2024 in Honolulu? Stay tuned this weekend and watch all the action live.
Thank you so much, Pedro, for that incredible explanation of our double elimination format. Also, kind of an overview of what's on the line for the trainers here in New Orleans, because day 1 was an incredible competition. So many trainers vying for that top spot. But of course, not all of them can make it into the top cut. Let's take a look at some of our top usage. These are the tools of the trade amongst the best trainers in the world.
This is also the first time in this Shared Skies update. There's a lot of familiar Pokemon that we've been seeing in the last meta as well, but it looks like Annihilate is back up on top, at least for day number 2 here, with over 50% of the users using it. But also Lickitung, which dropped off the meta in Los Angeles, is back up in 2nd place.
You know, I'm not sure if it was too obvious, or maybe a lot of trainers were talking about it, so we thought it would just be a given, but Azumarill coming in at 3rd place with almost 47% usage is also pretty staggering, because like you said, Amanda, we're in a new season, but this is a throwback to days of old.
And it looks like there are some new, what we quote, mud boys on this team now. Shadow Quagsire, everyone, Deepa called it out in the intro as well, but I did see it on your casting predictions as well. Shadow Quagsire, it's been like basically the Shadow Quagsire show day 1. I'm very interested to see what it will be day 2.
Let's be fair, right? We had 2 Quagsires on our caster predictions, but only 1 Shadow Quagsire. And
Culero con Nor.
like you said, Amanda, Shadow Quagsire
Comenta.
kind of crushing it. Had
Me
a few
podrían
sweeps, a
decir
few
si este
triple
es el canal de
knockouts.
Nandi.
A lot of Aqua Tails have been spammed, like you said yesterday, poetically, buckets and buckets of Aqua Tails.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see which Pokemon people will be bringing in for the matches. I don't know. Since Quagsire was only at like 26%, we might see something else that's going to be really taking the stage. We saw a double Night Slash boost yesterday. That was kind of iconic, something that is...
Las nuevas fragancias finas de Axe son un lujo.
No es solo una fragancia, es la nueva colección de fragancias finas de Axe. Huelen de lujo como un perfume.
Ahí está mi ex. ¿Lo saludo? ¿Lo ignoro? ¿Pensará que aún me gusta?
Ay, X, que vea lo que se perdió.
Esta es tu buba señal para bajarle al estrés. El chiste es disfrutar. El chiste es bombear. Búbalo. Búbalo presenta la buba señal. Se prende cuando ya tienes que bajarle al estrés y te da momentos para divertirte. Al final el chiste es disfrutar. El chiste es bombear. Búbalo.
This doesn't happen all that often in Pokemon Go, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to dive right into these matches. We're going to get started with our very first matchups of the day on the winner's side of the bracket. Players are ready. We're going to go bring it down to the stage.
Some familiar faces returning to the stage here in New Orleans. House Stark, 93 on the left, and Cedric, 801 on the right. House Stark definitely very impressive, not only this season, but in seasons past. This is a household name amongst the PvP community. We know what he's going to do. He's going to play extremely well, execute at a very high level. And Cedric, I'm not as familiar with, but Cedric is formidable in his own right.
I think sometimes players who aren't as well known sometimes have an advantage in a way because people maybe underestimate them a little bit or haven't seen their play styles as often. So it gives them a new opportunity to showcase their talent. And they've had, Cedric's had time to study House Stark over many different regional competitions. One Pokemon I want to really bring up on his team is something that he's maybe taken from his friends over in Europe. That Shadow Magnezone hasn't been so popular in North America, but I think a lot of trainers have actually brought it here to day 2, and it's so impactful.
Exactly right. And we talk about solid cores. I do think the Shadow Magnezone Altaria is a powerful core, but guess what can core break that? That's the Shadow Alolan Sandslash for Cedric here on the right. I think honestly that's probably his key Pokemon in the matchup, but also let's shout out the Mandibuzz, the Annihilate, and the Vigoroth, double counter users on this team from Cedric, which we've seen double counter user teams make it into Top Cut just here and there, kind of
Jesús Lizarazo comenta: chicos, ahí los dejo con Mike de admin, no olviden dejar su like y si pueden compartir estaría de lujo. Un abrazo a mis amigos y a los que no, bienvenidos.
With so many counters and not a lot of targets. Sure, Mandibuzz and Azumarill would be great, but every other Pokemon at least can answer back, and we're gonna have to see how these trainers want to adapt, how they want to play these out. First matches of the day, so they're getting their nerves shaken out right on stage, right in front of all of us, and it looks like they are gonna go ahead and jump into this very first matchup. House Stark shaking it off.
He's got to cool off the tapping fingers, right? We're jumping right into game number 1. House Stark on the left side of your screen, Cedric on the right. This is a solid lead for House Stark.
Yes, Azumarill does so well against Mandibuzz, and we'll have to see if Cedric wants to stay in because it doesn't look like he actually has a very strong answer against Azumarill in general. I'm wondering at this point if maybe he's going to try to catch an attack. Looks like he is trying to go for it, but House Stark, patient as ever, waits to see it comes in. This is very, very bad for Cedric here. From one bad scenario to the worst, but at least he's able to get off this drill run, and it looks like it's going to go unprotected by House Stark.
Yeah, House Stark trying to budget his Annihilate's HP, make sure that he can hang on through the drill run and the super effective Shadow Claws. He's able to do it with just a little bit of HP remaining, and you know there's not a lot of fast attack pressure from these two Pokemon from Cedric, so I think that House Stark could definitely get to a charge attack here, maybe even the Shadow Ball. Cedric's going to wait down that switch timer.
But if I was Cedric, I'm just coming back in with that Mandibuzz because none of the attacks that Annihilate is going to throw is going to be that impactful against the Mandibuzz. The Shadow Ball just tickles the Pokemon still in the green, able to aggressively snarl down, but now where is this energy going to go? Back into the Azumarill here? This is not going to be very effective.
Azumarill pops out of the Pokeball, gets one more bubble worth of energy, and like you said, Amanda, these aerial aces really are just kind of like little scratches on the Azumarill. It doesn't really mind them too much, but this super effective Play Rough will make an impact.
This will not be enough to knock out the Mandibuzz. He is going for the heavier hitting attack, maybe looking for aggressive bubble down, wondering what he will have to do in this scenario because he's about to take another aerial ace and most likely another one after that should Cedric choose to stay in.
I'm going to be honest, Amanda, this team composition for House Stark is so risky. He's got Lickitung in the back. If there was a Vigoroth in the back, an Annihilate, or the Mandibuzz in the back, this Lickitung would have been completely neutralized, but House Stark makes a incredible team read, sending it in against the Azumarill here to close things out.
Lickitung against Azumarill, especially when Azumarill does not run Hydro Pump, favors the Lickitung just because of bulk. These are two very, very bulky Pokemon in the Great League. This Play Rough will be more impactful, but House Stark not bothering to shield this up, and Lickitung just wagging his tongue, sticking his tongue out at Azumarill, saying, I'm still in the green.
Yeah, exactly right. Lickitung not phased at all by the Azumarill on the opposing side of the field. House Stark trying to maximize his turn intervals, gets the 2 licks within the length of the bubble, fires off the Power Whip, oh my gosh, tries to land some damage. Cedric was hoping it was just a body slam bait.
You can see him even shrugging at that point, recognizing the writing might be on the wall here. Should I shield? Should I not? He's gonna have to at some point because this Lickitung has got to go here. Azumarill still smiling away. It does have a lot of energy. Gonna throw this next attack, which is going to do a lot of damage to the Lickitung, but Azumarill is on its last little hoppy legs.
Exactly, and if you're House Stark, I mean, you really don't need to shield anything here. We're gonna see the swap and the combo play with the Mandibuzz Aerial Ace. Cedric is just trying to make something out of nothing here. Gonna KO the Lickitung, but he still has that Azumarill Azumarill from House Stark to deal with.
Culero con
also
Nor.
has a decent amount of health,
Comenta.
but look, still in the green. We talked about
Mashín
it, will probably
debería
bubble
narrar
down
la
before.
transmisión.
It's definitely going to bubble down now at this stage. There's still 2 shields remaining on House Stark's side. A complete bubble down. You see them already good gamesing each other and a play rough to boot.
There's a couple of things to note here because House Stark did lead the Azumarill into the Mandibuzz and Cedric had the Alolan Sandslash in the back. When you play a Pokemon like Bastiodon, like Alolan Sandslash, you need control switch advantage, especially if there's a counter user on the opposing side. And Cedric wasn't able to do that. He actually ended up safe switching that Pokemon and was punished by the
Culero
Annihilate
con
in the,
Nor.
in the back from House Stark.
Comenta.
You know what actually I find
Ese
very
hombre es
interesting
una
about Cedric's
enciclopedia
line of
viviente.
play is that he was pretty much ABA weak to Shadow Magnezone. Because he had so many strong counters on his team, he just banked on the fact that House Stark was not going to bring that Pokemon in and led to the 2 Pokemon on the team that would fare horribly against it in a very aggressive playstyle. It still didn't end up working out for him there. As if you, I'm sorry, but if you swap in an Alolan Sandslash, that's counter damage is going to be so impactful for that game.
House Stark's trust in his Annihilate definitely pays off. Gets the Shadow Ball to boot before getting snarled down by the Mandibuzz. But Azumarill coming in here for Cedric tries to make up some of that lost ground. Does the combo play, gets the knockout. So this matchup on paper is going to look pretty close, right? Only 1 Pokemon remaining for House Stark, but House Stark had a great lead. He was able to control the pacing of the matchup. And again, I just want to call out how risky, how bold it was to bring Lickitung into this team from Cedric because he has so many answers.
Yeah, House Stark pretty much had that game from beginning to end, at least team comp-wise, using that risky play of that Lickitung. He had the Azumarill on the Mandibuzz, great for House Stark there. That counter swap to the Alolan Sandslash and the Annihilate, and then Lickitung just being able to soak all that damage from the Azumarill. House Stark really solidified that game number 1, and I wonder how Cedric will adapt for game number 2.
I keep pointing out, Amanda, ABA weak to Shadow Magnezone, so maybe that actually leaves an opening here for House Stark to bring it in game number 2 because it could make a big impact, right? You're going to strip shields, you're going to threaten wild charge level damage, even firing just mirror shots. I've seen Magnezones pull plenty of shields.
And the thing about ABA, we didn't see that Shadow Magnezone,
Están
but what
muy
if it was
callados.
in the lead? A lot of times trainers like to put it there because they like to do a wild charge and then swap out to another Pokemon. Cedric would have been forced to keep that Mandibuzz in that matchup because Azumarill has an even worse matchup in the back.
You saw House Stark looking confident on stage. He thinks he has the team composition to win this game number 2 and advance to round number 2 of day 2 in NAIC. This is a pretty neutral lead because Lickiting's licks do add up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if he thinks he has the combination. We'll have to see how that will play out. He does have a decent matchup in the back here, but Annihilate does have a slight advantage here, being able to throw these Night Slashes very quickly. House Stark would need to go up to that Power Whip to throw first, and then I think Cedric might just be fishing for the boost, and he gets it right away.
The boost is definitely going to change this matchup. It means that Lickitung cannot pace to 2 charge attacks comfortably, so he's going to have to fire the Power Whip immediately. Does pull the Protect Shield away from Cedric, but now Annihilate gets a full counter down to avoid that. House Stark pivots right into Azumarill.
I think this was a really good play by House Stark, saying, okay, your move here, this is
José
not a
Guido.
great matchup for the Annihilate.
Bienvenido,
House Stark
Padawan.
also knows that the Azumarill does
José
not want to
Guido.
take a boosted Shadow Ball.
Comenta.
They're going ahead and correctly
Hola.
shelling that up while getting a lot of
Ikamoto
energy.
Tore.
Almost at that play rough.
Comenta.
Ice Beam would even be enough.
Yo
forcing
estoy
Cedric
hablando,
to
pero
go
tú no me
into his own,
escuchas.
Shadow Alolan Sandslash here.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cedric safe switched the Shadow Alolan Sandslash and found the Annihilate in game number 1, so at least against Azumarill, it's going to have some utility. He's not too worried about this position. He can kind of make an impact, but still, Azumarill has a massive head start in terms of energy, and these bubbles are adding up.
The bubbles are the main thing for the Azumarill here. This drill run is impactful for the, but I mean, at this point, the play rough should be close to knocking out, but it's going to be that bubble damage afterwards. Neither one of these charge attacks are really going to be that effective against the Sandslash.
Cedric choosing to shield his Shadow Alolan Sandslash against the Azumarill. You can see the blue shield for resisted damage. Gonna go for another, actually going for the Ice Punch, which is resisted. House Stark lets it through. I wonder if he can get another bubble as well.
Looks like he probably will, because I don't think this is enough to knock out. No, not even close. Maybe Cedric was hoping to get some damage. No, now coming in just to completely negate everything. 2 counters worth of damage. Now has a little bit of extra energy on the Annihilate, but will it be enough?
I appreciate Cedric's discipline, waiting down the switch timer just in case he needs to get out of this matchup, but House Stark is still locked in for another 45 seconds. Shadow Ball getting fired off here. Great timing by House Stark to maximize all of his possible counter damage, and the Shadow Ball is same type attack bonus.
Yeah, and with no Protect Shields remaining, Azumarill is going to take the full force of that there, knocking it down to the yellow. Cedric, meanwhile, just charging up a ton of extra energy, recognizing at this point an Ice might be enough. Getting that last shield off a House Stark because the play rough would definitely knock out the Annihilate at this range.
I think the ice...
Isa.
Las nuevas fragancias finas de Axe son un lujo.
No es solo una fragancia, es la nueva colección de fragancias finas de Axe. Huelen de lujo como un perfume.
A mí no me vean, tengo mal las 4 rodillas. ¡No me comas! ¡No soy sabroso! Vuelvan a ponernos en el agua.
Tengo que ir por mis amigos.
Ice Beam is really wise here by Cedric. He knows he can probably pace to another one. Shadow Ball is loaded and ready to go. Actually going on the charge attack priority.
Love this play.
Wow, how Stark is dialed in. This might just be enough to KO the Azumarill. Annihilate's attacks, that does pay off. Azumarill baits. Now it's just Annihilate in the back.
Estamos callados porque eres tú el que arma el desmadre. Mumasin. Comenta. Por eso me caga Twitch. A la mitad de la batalla te pone comerciales.
No, it's not. Annihilate for how Stark gets the Night Slash off as well. And this is going to put Cedric's Annihilate so low that even a few counters or the Lickitung switch will get the KO. Actually, excuse me, that's not even needed.
Not even needed. Night Slash connects. Annihilate goes down. House Stark takes a clean 2-0 sweep in this first round of the winner's part of the bracket. Day 2.
Yeah, very comfortable, right? Bringing the
¿En qué momento empieza a laguearse el juego?
I find very, very surprising. That was honestly, Amanda, kind of a gamble, right? If there was the Vigoroth in the lead, or if the Mandibuzz was in the lead in that game number 2, then House Stark needs to pivot, maybe go to his Annihilate. But again, Mandibuzz lead 2 games in a row would have been a disaster for House Stark in game 2.
I think it's absolutely what you said during the matchup. House Stark was just dialed in. I mean, he was shaking his head. He was giving cute little looks at the camera, giving some nods. He felt like he knew exactly how his opponent was going to play, and it looks like he was correct on both, basically all the fronts.
Yeah, exactly.
Comenta.
Good lead, good swap.
En el Mundial si hay lag se anula la batalla.
At our game 2 replay, Azumarill hangs on. House Stark pivots into the Annihilate, gets a full counter down, which gives him a 3 counter head start. The charge attack party tie with Azumarill gets a knockout as well.
Comenta.
That is really good counter.
Puedes solicitar la
why
anulación.
doesn't he just throw right when he has the attack? It's because he knows that he would be able to fire off the attack first, so he wanted to negate any charge attacks that the opponent would get, just really maximizing all the energy and turns that he's playing.
Yo hubiera participado, pero me banearon la cuenta.
We call it that 3-ball flex, right? How Stark is able to win that series against Cedric. Cedric's going to fall to that loser side bracket, but he's still in day 2. And I mean, one of those trainers had to fall to the loser's bracket, right? That's just the way it works. Cedric still is a very talented player. Excited to see what he does with his double counter user team as he moves through the bracket in New Orleans.
Yeah, and like Swagron said in that format video, since this is double elimination, he's going to have another chance. We're starting in the winner side of the bracket. These were trainers who did not lose in day 1 at all, so they have an advantage that they played a little bit less games because all you do is win. You can just stay right at that top level. Meanwhile, the ones on the loser side are having to go through a bit more battles to get to where they are at on that loser side.
I wanted to point out something really interesting. So our top bracket here, our winner side bracket, actually has a lot of kind of mixed region pairings. We have LATAM versus US, we have EU versus US. That match we just saw is one of, I believe, only 2 US versus US or NA versus NA trainer pairings in this entire winner side bracket, which is really, really amazing. I think it's great to see these international trainers come
No
into
encontré la
NAIC
cuenta
and
oficial,
have huge
jajaja.
success.
Dunebug97, a trainer who's been knocked out of this tournament, got second place at EUIC. He's won 3 regionals this season. And he kind of set a precedent when a lot of North Americans went over to the European International Championships, made it to day 2. And I think Latin America and Europe paid attention. They decided they're going to come in for the last tournament of the season before Worlds. We have 5, I believe, Latin American trainers in day 2 and 3 European trainers.
Yeah, which is incredible, right? And I think that both the North America and EU trainers need to go down to LATAM because the LATAM crowd is one of a kind, so special. And I can't wait to see more trainers make these trips internationally to go to these other international championships because I'm telling you, LAIC is a treat and you need to be there.
José Guido.
You know who else is a treat?
Comenta.
House Stark.
Mashín hace días te mandé una imagen que te hizo el Jesus La.
Thank you very much, Amanda. And yes, we are here with no other than the great Hal Stark, and he played out of his mind. You did really great plays, and I'm wondering something, you know? One of the most important things on Pokemon Go is team building, you know? And your team building was incredible. So what's your thought process when you're like trying to build someone to defeat your opponent?
Absolutely, yeah. So last night I did a lot of battles with my teammates, and they helped me prepare for this battle. And going into it, my opponent, that you just had a team that was really weak to Azumarill, and Azumarill was my MVP for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you used it like save switch on the lead, whatever, and it works. That shows the knowledge that you have on the game, and that's amazing. And there's something that not many players can do, and that's faced a boosted Annihilate.
Diego
How do you
Alonso
face that? Because it's
comenta.
hard, you know? How do
Ahí
you
está
react
su
to
Agron
that?
333.
So as soon as I saw the boost, I knew that I had to get a shield from the Annihilate, because a lot of people love to shield Annihilate when it's boosted. So I knew Lickitungs can power up, need to grab the shield, and then I had to switch into Azumarill to force the Annihilate to switch out, because if it stays in that matchup, I'm toast. So I just needed to get the shield, get out of that matchup, force the Annihilate to switch out, and then from there try to play my best to win the game.
You really did play at your best. And the last thing, before we go back to the casters, that 1 HP and a Dream Annihilate, how do you feel about that?
I'm so glad I got a really good Annihilate with high defense, so it's able to survive that Night Slash.
There you go. The key
Mike
to success, a good
comenta.
Annihilate. Back to the casters.
Jajaja, ponle Oxo.
I think some other keys as well is having a plan. You heard how Stark, right? So Agron asked a great question. He said, when the opposing Annihilate boosted, what was your plan? What did you do? He said
Mike
there were 2 steps basically,
comenta.
right? The first was to take
Págale
a
los
Protect
tacos,
Shield. You
taco.
cannot have a boosted Annihilate with Protect Shields on its side. And the second part of that plan was to pivot.
Mike
because you can't stay in a matchup where
comenta.
the Annihilate can thrive or
Sóbale
can
los
farm the
pies.
Pokemon down and continue to fire off either neutral or super effective attacks. You have to push it off the field. And I think
Mike
that having a plan like that is so
comenta.
important. I mean, imagine, Amanda,
Guión
if you're
bajo
in a
ya
matchup
cállate.
and you're
Guión bajo ya
you're in a
cállate.
matchup, you're not sure what to do, and
That's often, okay?
Diego
an
Alonso
opposing Annihilate boost, and you don't have
comenta.
your Wigglytuff. What do you do?
Guión bajo
Yeah, no, it is a
atúpida.
good point. And honestly, boosts don't happen all that often, so even though
Diego
I mean,
Alonso
you should have a plan for it, I
comenta.
can also understand why
Guión
trainers
bajo ya
maybe would
cállate.
not. And
Guión
if
bajo
House Stark
cosita.
even took
Guión bajo
a
ya
second or
cállate.
2 seconds to think about this situation, so many turns would have already happened. That Annihilate would have even more energy to its side. It's that quick reaction time to it. One other thing I wanted to talk about with House Stark, when he was saying that, he's trained his Annihilate to have a little more defense, so it was able to withstand that Night Slash. Some trainers I know, especially because Annihilate is the most popular
Mike
Pokemon of day 2,
comenta.
they like to train their Pokemon to have a high attack because they want to win that charge attack priority, and it looks like that's exactly what Cedric's had done, but because of that, it wasn't able to survive that Night Slash.
So maybe high attack, to win
Mike
these charge attack priority ties.
comenta.
High defense to
No
withstand
había
some
visto
charge
los
attacks.
nuevos
Maybe
emotes,
HP is
jaja.
not that important. It can maybe,
Mike
be pretty low.
Yeah,
comenta.
we'll have to see, maybe we
Guión
can
bajo
talk to some
Dobabes.
other trainers and see how they like
Mike
to train up their Annihilates.
comenta.
But we're going to go into the
Guión
battles
bajo
here
fatality.
between 2 trainers. You
Mike
talked about the trainers coming from
comenta.
different parts of the globe to compete.
Guión bajo
This is
hola.
one of these matches. This is a Latin American trainer.
Be pretty low.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe we can talk to some other trainers and see how they like to train up their Annihilates. But we're going to go into the battles
Mike
here between 2 trainers.
comenta.
You talked about the trainers
En
coming from
30
different parts of the
minutos.
globe to compete.
Mike
This is one of these matches. This is a
comenta.
Latin American trainer.
¿Es en serio, jajaja? Mashín. Comenta. Son errores de transmisión. Mashín. Comenta. Se me hace que hoy despiden a alguien. Mike. Comenta. Ja vale. Mike. Comenta. Jajaja, yo creo que sí. Mike. Comenta. Mashín, pásame el link del directo al PRI, porfa. Mike. Comenta. Estoy buscando y no me sale. Mike. Comenta. El nuevo Twitch de móviles está horrible. Mike. Comenta. Está pésimo. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Lo sé, Mike, peris TikTok. Mike. Comenta. Encuentro los demás pero no el oficial, y ya me cansé de que me saliera el Snorlax, jajajaja. Mike. Comenta. Ve de que sí, pensé que solo era yo pero está horrible. Mike. Comenta. Tú ya lo encontraste, @Diego Alonso. Mike. Comenta. Lo quiero para el código. Mike. Comenta. Creo que darán una camisa.
And welcome to our pre-show. My name is Zoinks. I am representing Pokemon Unite, and I am joined by 3 incredible commentators, analysts, experts of their field for the 3 other titles. Amanda for Pokemon Go, Huga for Pokemon TCG, and Scott for Pokemon Trading Card Game. Welcome, Amanda. How
Diego
are you?
Alonso. Comenta. Nel me da flojera buscar eso.
Pokemon Go is relatively new to the world's scene. There's so much that has changed this year. This is our first season for championship points. This is our first season that we have open team sheets, and this is only the second tournament in the actual meta that we're playing in right now, so it's going to be very exciting to watch.
Amazing. And Puga, you are back in Hawaii after quite a while. So how's it feeling to be back at another World Championships here?
Feels incredible. There's nothing like the World Championships. I've been coming to these since 2004, so about 20 years, but it's always the most exciting event of the year.
Comenta.
You just feel the energy from
No
people
se
all over the
estresen,
world coming
en cuanto
together, a
salga el
shared love
código
of
se los
Pokemon.
paso.
And the TCG, it does have the longest history of the World Championships of all the games, but The exciting part is that we all come together here.
That is true. And Scott, you got history here as well. So how does it feel to be back in Honolulu, Hawaii?
I'm really excited to be back in Hawaii. I competed in the video game championships here one year. It's crazy how much things have grown. I feel like you could fit the VG play area about 4 times into just our backstage area now. I'm really excited to see as Miraiden and Calyrex have come to terrorize our format.
Okay, fair enough. Now, we've had some pretty interesting seasons, all 4 of us, in our different games. It has been the culmination now here for the World Championships. Of course, the event we've all been looking forward to all year. So why don't we get a bit of a recap of what your season's been like and what we're looking at it now. So how about for Pokemon Go, Amanda?
I mean, this season, like we talked about, has brought about a lot of changes. This is actually also our largest competition so far. Around 250 competitors were invited to Worlds, and I mean, it's
Mike
anyone's game at this point.
comenta, pero el código es personal como las otras ocasiones no.
Well, and we'll have to get into those a little bit later.
Okay, fair enough. And how about you for TCG, Puka?
Yeah, TCG's been exciting. We've had record-breaking attendance at our regionals, internationals. It's been a huge year for the TCG in terms of decks that are being used. We're fully in the Scarlet and Violet era. Pokemon EX, we have Pokemon like Gardevoir EX did extremely well at NAIC. I think we're going to see a lot more of that at the World Championships, but we are introducing a new expansion, the Shrouded Fable expansion, which has some cards that will mix things up a little bit. So I'm excited to see how it's going to all play out.
I'm excited too. That's a great
Es el
bit
que
for
dan las
Worlds.
Dropbox de la cuenta asociada a Twitch, creo.
And Scott, for VGC, we're now in year 2 of Scarlet and Violet, so what's the season been like?
Yeah, it's been very exciting. We started out the year with a format more similar to what spectators may have seen at last year's Pokemon World Championships, gradually adding Pokemon from the Teal Mask DLC, which was mostly just Ogerpon, and then a bunch of really powerful Paradox Pokemon in the following regulation. And now, trainers have a new unique challenge, which we've never seen at the World Championships before, where only a single restricted Pokemon, the most powerful legendary Pokemon, are permitted on their teams. So trainers really having to figure out how to stop each potential restricted Pokemon only using one
El
of their
global
own.
sale en redes después,
That's a lot to look forward to. The Unite side of things has been super exciting, of course. We really like to make that happen, but we've had so many tournaments all year with a international tournament at EUIC for the AOS Cup, and now this is our 2nd international tournament. So a lot of big names returning to the main stage. So many names that have been making their name for themselves in recent tournaments as well. It is super exciting. So our event is going to be a blast as well. I mean, you came to the right place if you're looking for exciting Pokemon, right? And if you're looking to earn a little bit as well while watching the event this weekend, all 4 of our games have something to show you. I think Scott, VG wants to show a little bit about what we have on the giveaway front.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the cool things that kind of have been a part of the circuit the past few years, where we celebrate a previous champion by distributing one of their Pokemon. And this time it is the Senior Division World Champion last year in the Sylveon. So you can make sure to enter that code before it's too late. I always forget and am very disappointed later. And perhaps we'll get to see him later on. He is now competing in the Masters Division. So I don't know if they'll bring that Sylveon.
Comenta.
I didn't expect to see it
Ya
last
lo
year either,
encontré,
though.
bailarín,
So,
bailarín.
maybe it'll break through.
Ooh, a spicy pick for the code giveaway. I love that. That's super exciting. Now, Puka, I know TCG's got some pretty sick rewards as well. So what can people get if they're tuning in and watching the stream?
Yeah, for your TCG Live account, you can go ahead and insert this code, Outburst Worlds 24. That will get you a special illustration rare Pecharunt EX. Put it in your deck. It's from the new Shrouded Fable expansion, one of the mascots of that expansion. So pretty exciting card with some cool artwork. So
Diego
make sure
Alonso.
you put in that code, get that card.
Comenta.
But that's not the only thing we have
Guión
for
bajo
TCG. We
ídolo.
also have Twitch drops. If
Diego
you're watching
Alonso.
throughout the weekend, you
Comenta.
can earn some kind of exclusive
Guión bajo atúpida.
cosmetics,
Guión bajo
coins,
atúpida.
sleeves, deck box,
Guión bajo
and some other
fatality.
stuff you can earn. So yeah, be sure to watch throughout the weekend and get some cool stuff for your Pokemon TCG Live account.
The magic word feels like exclusive sometimes, you know what I mean? So yeah, make sure you are tuning in for those Twitch drops. And Pokemon Go, no exclusion here in the Twitch drops category.
Yeah.
So Amanda, what can people look forward to when they watch the Pokemon Go
Listen, I
Championships?
don't want to brag, but I think out of it all, we have the best Twitch drops. You're going to want to make sure that you're watching the Pokemon channel, because not only do we have Twitch drops, we have different ones for each day. So day 1 is going to be around its accent, our previous world champions, Sableye. So you can get some Sableye candy, XL candy, an Elite TM Stardust. And then day 2, a little sneak peek maybe into the next upcoming season. You can choose their team options where you're going to get some spawns around these specific Pokemon. Very, very interesting.
Oh, I love that. I mean, if we're getting a sneak peek of those Pokemon, there's some I'm super excited for. Pangoro, please make a splash in Pokemon Go. That would be fantastic. Pokemon Unite as well. We are going to be jumping in with the Twitch drop, so you'll be able to earn some item enhancers if you were tuning in and watching at twitch.tv/Pokemon Unite. And if you're watching that grand finals event on Saturday night, you will have a chance to earn a Unite license box as well. So make sure you're tuned in there for a chance to win. And we got a code that you can enter in the game as well to earn a Platinum Gengar Boost emblem. Gift code WCS2024. You got to make sure you claim that by August 19th, but it's a pretty sweet emblem. It's snazzy. Add that to your collection. And you're going to be feeling a lot better in your ranked games. Trust me. I really like that look. It is awesome. But let's face it, I mean, those are exciting. But what we're all here for is the competition that is going to be amazing all weekend long. We got some players to watch for each of our games. So, Amanda, who are these players that you want to spotlight for Pokemon Go?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad that we're getting into this because we have trainers that are coming in from all over. We're just going to highlight 3 of them real quickly here. The first one I want to talk about is Rubik's Master. He came in, he actually got 2nd place in the World Championships last year, and he only lost to the world champion, It's Axon, the whole season. So this season, not only has he qualified for Worlds, he hasn't played that many tournaments, and I think he's going to really make a strong run. Our second person up is Palasha, a really, really well-known trainer in Europe, known for using Magnezone, which is like a pretty spicy pick, and she top cut 5 of the 8 tournaments that she actually played in, and she qualified for Worlds off of these alone, not even using any championship points from locals. And our very last one is Jakobovich from Australia. He is a trainer. He was actually our very first trainer this season who won 2 regional competitions in 1 season. And we had a couple of them do it, but he can claim that #1 title.
Wow, okay, I mean, each of them champions in their own right already, but going for a brand new title in World Champion. That's exciting. There's a few players in the running for TCG as well, Puka, so who should we be looking out for in the card game?
Yeah, there's so many competitors in the TCG, and so many with a long history at the World Championships, but Andrew Hedrick is more of a newcomer to the Pokemon TCG scene, has really burst onto it in the last couple of years, has 3 regional wins in the last 2 years, plus just fresh off that NAIC victory and a very, very exciting down-to-the-wire win with that Lost Box deck. But, you know, for TCG, it's typically all eyes on Tord Reklev. He is the guy everybody's watching. He got an agonizing 2nd place at the World Championships last year. You know, that was his kind of final thing he needed. You know, he's won so many international championships. He's won basically every kind of tournament except Worlds, and he's gotten top 4. He's got 2nd last year. He was just 1 turn away from winning. So, you know, he's going to be super focused for this event. I ran into him. He said he's been in Hawaii for 2 weeks, and he's just had his head down practicing the whole time. He has not done any vacationing, any sightseeing, just full practice the whole way. He is here to win. And the last player from Oceania is Brent Tunnison, who I believe is actually the #1 ranked player in TCG in the Masters division for the season. He's traveled the entire world this season, which is pretty difficult. You know, he's in Australia and he's flying to tournaments all over the world, and he's placing in top 8 all over the place. So he's a player to watch for sure. He's been on a roll this season.
Amazing. I mean, all 3 of those players sound incredible. Definitely have a chance at that World Championship title. I mean, we're skipping vacation to be locked in for games. That is definitely a big showcase. Scott, for VGC, we also have some amazing competitors with storied seasons. Who are 3 players that you want to spotlight?
Well, I think perhaps this year more than ever we could see a surprise, but the big names are going to make it difficult. One I think that no one's going to be too surprised to see here is Wolf Glick. It feels like he's been on stream every event. He's actually only played a few events this year. He won 2 different regional championships, and he's actually coming off his weakest finish of the season, which was still 22nd at the North America International Championships. You know, he's the 2016 World Champion, the only North American World Champion who's competing, and he also got 2nd the last time we were here in Hawaii. And speaking of 2nd place, poor Aurelian Sola always seems to wind up in that 2nd place spot. 2nd place at the Lille Regionals, 2nd place at the Utrecht Special Event, and 2nd place at the North America International Championships. You know, 10 years ago on the stream, I kind of reversed caster cursed Sajin Park when I said that perhaps he was the best player who'd never won a World Championships. I think Aurelian has earned being in that conversation now, so hey, maybe we'll see it again. And then finally, we see the Japan National Champion on the other side of the screen. Never never want to count out the winner of the Japan qualification system, no matter who it is. They always seem to wind up very deep in the tournament, and I think Japan in general is just going to be super scary. I think the finals of that tournament was definitely an upset where the runner-up may be just as scary, and I believe Japan also has 4 other world champions competing in this event, including both of last year's Master and Senior Division world champions.
Okay, well, everyone is here. They've all gathered for this competition, the champions alike in their own right, but alchemy like silver into gold medal might be on the way very soon for some of these competitors. In the Pokemon Unite scene, we have 3 teams that I wanted to spotlight, but there is so many like tournament favorites, if I wanted to call it. But 3 teams that I wanted to call out is going to be Fusion from LATAM South first. A region in LATAM South, a very exciting one, but Fusion have been a dominant force
Diego
all season
Alonso
long. They haven't lost
comenta
a single tournament.
que Pacho éramos 5 espectadores presente en el directo y se redució a 2.
They have won every
Diego
single event they
Alonso
participated in. 100% win rate,
comenta.
pretty good.
Bueno, regresaron
Fennel
2.
from Japan is a somewhat newer squad, relatively, but they did win the Japan regional competition. Zeta Division coming in 2nd place, but they did win the Asia Champions League, and they got 2nd place at that AOS Cup for the international event. So with so many good squads coming out of Japan, it really does feel like it's their year, but right now, our only world champions we've ever had in Pokemon Unite come from North America, back-to-back champions, and now we're playing on that home turf, so maybe North America will make a showing as well. I mean, who knows? There is so many exciting teams to watch, so I think a lot to look forward to in this event. I personally cannot wait. Any final thoughts before we close out here, Amanda?
I mean, I'm just really excited for Pokemon Go. I mean, obviously, no shade. I'm excited for all the games, but really best Twitch drops, most exciting battles. You're gonna be watching Pokemon Go.
Fair enough. How about you, Puka?
There's just such a long history for TCG at the World Championships. There's players like Ross Cawthon who have qualified for every one. He's taken 2nd place twice. He's just every year trying to fight to get that World Championship victory finally. We actually have, I believe, 13 players who are in the running to be a 2-time world champion, which is really exciting. We've only had 1 multiple-time world champion in the TCG. So that's something I'm going to be watching as well to see if any of those players can, put their names in the history books as a 2-time world champion.
Awesome. How about you, Scott?
I'm just really excited to see how players navigate this format. We've never really had anything like it, and with so many players competing this year, and
José
a
Guido
format where
comenta.
I think like the top team
No
archetypes
entiendo ni
are
una
better
palabra de
defined
lo
than
que
in most
hablan.
years. I don't think it's going to work just to kind of like have nothing unique and just expect to win your way through on skill alone with a bunch of matchups that may be very close to 50-50. So I'm excited to see what competitors do to give themselves a little bit better odds. I think whoever wins this tournament is going to have a really clever solution.
José Guido
I love that. I think you guys kind of in the same boat. I think this might be the tournament we've had the most parity of any world championships yet. These teams feel very close together across the board. So I personally can't wait, and I know all of you can't either. So make sure to tune in and follow all of the channels, youtube.com/Pokemon, twitch.tv/Pokemon, and tune in.
No
Sunday will be the grand finals for Go, TCG, and VGC. Pokemon Unite will be concluding on Saturday night, so make sure to tune into that. Now, the next thing that you all are going to want to stay tuned in for is a pretty exciting event that I'm personally pumped for. It will be the opening ceremony. So the opening ceremonies will be happening very soon, and right after that, the competition. So tune in and enjoy the World Championships.
Comenta. Eso te paga por ir al canal. José Guido. Comenta. Es que estudie computación. Dank 3 y Bienvenido Padawan. Dank 3 y Comenta. Pero yo lo quiero con espinas jajajajaja. Chiqui. Bienvenido Padawan. José Guido. Comenta. Pollito chicken. Chiqui. Comenta. Hola Mu. José Guido. Comenta. Hola a todos. José Guido. Comenta. Dejen su like. Mumasin. Comenta. _hola. Mumasin. Comenta. _buenas. Dank 3 y Comenta. Pero yo lo quiero con espinas. José Guido. Comenta. Se acabó. Dank 3 y Envy. Comenta. Pero yo lo quiero con espinas, jajajaja. Leonardo Castro. Bienvenido Padawan. Leonardo Castro. Comenta. El código se puede compartir. Mumasin. Comenta. Sí. Mumasin. Comenta. Los códigos son públicos. Leonardo Castro. Comenta. Nis ya listos con todo Masin. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo y voló. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Mashín, ¿crees que entre los códigos venga uno en donde me regresen mi cuenta principal? Mashín. Comenta. _Dobabes. Mashín. Comenta. _ya cállate. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _Dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _ya cállate. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. ¿De dónde sacan esos stickers? Diego Alonso. Comenta. _cosita. Mashín. Comenta. _cosita. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Si me prestan $1000 me hago miembro para tener esos stickers hay voluntarios. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _cosita, _fatality, _hola, _buenas. Mashín. Comenta. Cuesta $1 la membresía Dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _Dobabes, _Dobabes, _atúpida. Mashín. Comenta. _baneenlo. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. $999 para mí. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _Dobabes, _acambee, _íbolo. Mashín. Comenta. Está muy devaluado el peso jojutlense. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _Chiny. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Si soy pobre regálame la membresía jajajaja. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo y voló. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Más incito me regalas la membresía. Numasin. Comenta. Guión bajo cosita. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo ya cállate. Numasin. Comenta. Guión bajo jaja. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo cosita. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. En veces me mamo. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo cosita, guión bajo ya cállate. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Ya ponle play para que empieces a jugar Dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo Dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. Guión bajo Atúpida, guión bajo Acambee, guión bajo Baneenlo, guión bajo Chaini. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Ya hablo como los chavos Dobabes. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _ya cállate. Dank 3 y Andy. Comenta. Ya cállense, ya empezó la novela. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _ya cállate, _ya cállate. Diego Alonso. Comenta. _cosita, _ya cállate, _banéenlo.
Kahele akawaine ui, me hakaleo I ke kule, a ohe hawala awana manu, wala I kanona me kamalui. Hele loa mai noa como mai loko nei o ka ale, o ka inoa no hoi o ko uhale ku mai la ipuna o mauli ole. Ano kau noi ho I ke maila no kau make make ho I au me o I ko hale o halau a ola ke ai aku nei au I kau noi o ia he mai ke noi o e mai nei ka ne u he aloha lai aloha wa nei o Iaka ika polia o pelela e aloha o e pele ho nua me alai mena kini aga mahula e kane ku aga mahu pule lola e wa ina pau pa apu la e ka honua ka levala ni levali ili ile kane ia ka honua Balili pu'uvai he aloha lai aloha e na hoa o ka wau e ke kini a ke akua ke kini a ka naka ke kini a na mamo ka hua a ke ola ola o
share our love of the game while the island sunset glows. Making new memories with my Ohana, my family. Hey, come on, my, it's time to go. Hey, come on, my, it's time to go. Hey, come on, my, and let the games begin.
Now you're the next in line. Now it's your chance to shine. While the island sea breeze blows. Under the shining sun, you'll become a champion. And come on, my, you never know. Come on, my, it's time to go. Come on, my, and let the games begin.
Aloha trainers, and welcome to the 2024 Pokemon World Championships. We're here in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, with the best to ever play the game. But you never know.
It could be you on day two.
Come on, my, it's time to go. Come on, my, and let the games begin. Come on, my, and let the games begin.
Wow, let's hear one more big round of applause for Kylo Moon and our amazing dancers. That musical performance was one absolutely to remember, and that hula performance was such a great way to welcome all our trainers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. It's truly an honor to perform in front of a wonderful audience of Pokemon trainers. Thank you again. And Ekumo Mai means welcome, come on in, and welcome to Hawaii.
I know I'm going to be singing A Como Mai all weekend long. Tell us a little bit more about that first dance.
The opening hula was about Pele, who is one of our goddesses. We have many gods and goddesses that embody all of our elements that surround us. Pele embodies fire and volcanoes, creation of new land, and that opening number was about her and her sisters and their competitive relationship with each other. And
I love that. And I can't wait to learn a little bit more about Pele later. I know I'm going to be singing those songs all weekend long. Thank you so much. I'm just filled with that Hawaiian spirit.
Ekumo Mai simply means welcome, but also it represents a desire for all of us to come together as a community. So thank you so much for having us in the Pokemon community.
Yeah, we're so excited to come together and celebrate Pokemon, right? And we're so happy to be in Hawaii once again. So please, one more round of applause for that amazing Hawaiian welcome. Thank you so much. Now, hello, officially welcome to the Pokemon World Championship 2024. I'm Anna Prosser, and I'll be your host this weekend here in the stunning city of Honolulu, Hawaii. We are honored to have over 3,000 of the best trainers from around the globe joining us here this weekend. These talented trainers are ready to compete in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, the Pokemon trading card game, Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Unite. But before we dive into all of that excitement, let's hear a few words from the president and CEO of the Pokemon Company. Please welcome Mr. Tsunekazu Ishihara.
Pokemon トレーナーの皆さん、こんにちは。
Hello, Pokemon trainers!
ワールドチャンピオンシップ2024を迎えることができ、大変嬉しく思っています。
I'm very happy to be here together with you for the 2024 Pokemon World Championships.
この世界大会は、ポケモンのすべてを祝い、そして楽しむイベントです。世界中から集まった皆さんが互いを支え合い、そして競い合う姿を見るのは、私にとって大きな喜びです。
The Pokemon World Championships are a celebration of all things Pokemon, and I am delighted to see all of you from around the world come here to compete with and support each other.
私は今日から皆さん一人一人を応援したいと思います。まずはこの場にたどり着いたことを心からお祝いいたします。世界チャンピオンになるために全力で頑張ってください。
I look forward to cheering each and every one of you this weekend. Congratulations on making it here. And please give it your all and strive to become the world champion.
Diego Alonso comenta: ese chinito de Jackie Chan es el cerebro de quien nos banean.
ご友人の皆さんにも感謝申し上げます。皆さんのサポートはトレーナーたちが目標を達成する上でかけがえのないものです。
I also want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of the family and friends who supported our trainers throughout the season. Your support is invaluable to helping them achieve their goals.
また私たちを温かく迎えてくださったホノルルの皆さんにマハローの気持ちでいっぱいです。このように再びハワイの地で世界大会を開催できたことに感謝いたします。
And mahalo to the community of Honolulu for the warm welcome. We are so happy to be able to host the Pokemon World Championships here in Hawaii once again.
さて、トレーナーの皆さん、これから気持ちを引き締めて、いよいよ始まるバトルに集中しましょう。私が次に皆さんにお会いするのは日曜日閉会式の夕方の閉会式です。 その時にポケモンの最新情報をお知らせしたいと思います。
For now, trainers, let's focus on the competition ahead, and I'll see you all again at the closing ceremonies on Sunday evening to share some special news for our Pokemon games.
皆さんのご健闘を心より祈っています。それでは大いに楽しんでください。
I wish you all the best of luck in your battles. Have fun.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ishihara! Now, we are just moments away from kicking off the Pokemon 2024 World Championship. To set the competitive stage, our casters and analysts will be diving into the players and storylines that we should keep our eyes on this weekend. But before you take your seats at the play tables, we want to take a moment to honor and inspire those who made it to Worlds and are starting their journey down Victory Road. So in the next dance, you will see the power of Pele's family. Her favorite sister, Hi'iaka, is known for fighting giant dragons like Mokoli'i, now an islet of Oahu's Kualoa Beach. Hi'iaka is a skilled fighter who uses her magical skirt and control of the elements to defeat enemies and clear her path. So let this performance become a part of your story and inspire you to become the best and achieve victory. Competitors, good luck. We can't wait to see who will be the next Pokemon World Champion.
Awana mo koli ike kai wa hele apuana e ake kanaka hele ikali ula o ko hala iovi vi ai ole vi makai ole I kai ano kai kai ka he kai kano e ai e o ie Pilia mo o kai ko o I ka palilai Ua mo o kualo alai o io Kai popo I kumu pali kane ho alani Hulana ka ho I mo koli I ta e hua ke kai Mo kapua wa ke aya ho kulai Kukapi o aloa pi o nue ai e o ie Ki e kane ho alani Ho bue ana mo koli I de anu He keiki makahi apo I ana ko o lau e na te o ne o kane Lau na ko ama o ki o he ia E ia ula wa ke nai ka ino ai e o ie Maka ino mo o ka mo o vivi O a ka o ka pau O a ka huelo hale O pa I pali ku I ko o lau Ku ele poa ke ko o lau wahine Ni ho ku alo no mai Ua ta o lau e o ie Oh hai ke kabao kele Oh hai makani holo balilai Oh hai kamako kawahine Oh hai kahua kai make Hallelujah 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 Hallelujah
To you live from sunny Honolulu, Hawaii. Before we get started, I just want to get a vibe check around the booth here. Amanda, how are you feeling?
You know, I'm feeling absolutely great. That opening ceremony was incredible, and what a way to welcome everyone to Honolulu, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Amanda. It all leads to this. We've been waiting all season. Every moment, every battle has all led to this here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I could not be more excited.
I'm so excited to see all of these trainers. We've seen them competing throughout the season in their respective regions, but now today we're going to get to see them all play against each other.
We have over 200 competitors signed up for the tournament here for the World Championships. Let's take a look at our schedule and see where we are headed as we progress through this bracket. We're going to kick off our bracket play today, then heading into a top 32 tomorrow, and Championship Sunday is
Diego
where
Alonso
all the chips are on the
comenta.
board. I cannot wait to get to the
Mashín
finals.
ya me
What do you think,
retiro,
Amanda?
tengo cosas que hacer, si puedo regresar estaré aquí.
Just like the international championships, it's 3 days instead of like the typical special event regionals 2 days. Championship Sunday, that's, I mean, it's Axon playing. There's a potential that he could be maybe taking it again, but we could have a potentially completely new trainer being that 2024 world champion.
Every single trainer followed their own unique path to get to the World Championships, but they all reach these championship point thresholds. Jim, run us through the numbers here.
That's right. In NA, we need 500 championship points. EU, 400. The Latin America region is 300 with OC, 250. And then we have 200. It doesn't matter which region you're from. It is a arduous journey to make it here to Worlds. And we're going to see them all compete here very shortly.
That's the qualifying stage, but you also win a lot of prize money if you take home the championship title. So, $20,000, it sounds like a lot of money.
A lot of money for first place, but over $100,000 in total across these entire prize pools. In addition, I believe the top trainers also get an automatic invite to next year's World Championships, which is really exciting for them.
Amanda, I appreciate how you brought up our international championships. Let's take a look back on our roadmap through the season, because those international championships are one of the best ways to measure the caliber and the teams of the trainers as they progress through their own journey to the World Championships. So if we'll come back to you, talk about this meta just briefly. What do you see here that stands out?
Well, it looks completely different from what I expect to see here this weekend. Look at these Pokemon Metachamps, Serperior, Swampert. We hardly ever see them nowadays, but we will expect to see Pokemon like Shadow Gligar and Lickitung still making an appearance at these World Championships.
Several months later, the Europe International Championships also were underway. Amanda, walk us through this meta.
One thing I want to point out is there was no Charjabug to be found at LAIC, even though the champion ended up using it on his team. However, it really made a splash in this new meta that was done at EUIC. Like Soph said, we see that Shadow Gligar leading the fray there. Annihilate was also introduced as a Pokemon, and that seems to be the new fighter of choice from this point on.
Following EUIC, we entered the season of Shared Skies, and we only had one competition, which was NAIC. Jim, tell us about our NAIC meta and how things have changed.
Yeah, Will, what's so interesting about the NAIC meta is that it's the closest tournament that we've had here to Worlds. So what can we expect? Maybe something similar to NAIC. It was the Annihilate show at NAIC, but we actually had a surprise entrant here as well with the Shadow Quagsire actually taking over for some of those mud boys like Whiscash and Swampert even earlier in the season. I expect to see a lot of similarities, but who knows? There could be some wild cards.
Shadow Quagsire burst onto the scene and really took over a vital role, as you pointed out, Jim. We saw tons of Skeleturge with Emmy Weedle's performance at EUIC as well. Those were the top usage. But let's talk about some of the Pokemon that are on the upswing, trending upwards in usage and also in their ability to win championships. Let's spotlight Vigoroth first, the pure normal type Pokemon with the fast attack counter, as well as Body Slam and Rock Slide. So if you're one of the most technically talented trainers I know, why is Vigoroth so good in this meta?
It always has had a lot of neutral play, and of course it does have to watch out for Annihilate, but if you want a Pokemon that's trying to fill that fighter role, it's actually a little bit better against Pokemon like Gligar and Feraligatr, which we've seen on the rise.
Seems like a lot of teams are built to counter Annihilate, but Vigoroth is a malleable, flexible Pokemon to slot in as your counter user. Amanda, talk to us about Altaria, the dragon type that's made a resurgence as of late.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. We've been seeing a lot of Altaria. It's been around since the very beginning of PvP. It maybe fell out of favor for a little bit, but it is definitely back, and it's countering a lot of the Pokemon that are in the meta. I mean, Gligar being the actual flyer of choice for a lot of people, Altaria actually handles that quite easily. Just really needs to be worried about the ice-type Pokemon, but there's not as many of those right now.
Occasional Dugongs, right? I'm sure that Altaria is going to lead a myriad of dragon types, including Guzzlord, but one thing that Guzzlord does not want to see is a Pokemon that's on the downswing. That is Annihilate, the Rage Fist Pokemon. As you pointed out, this really flipped the meta on its head when it appeared. Jim, is Annihilate still viable? Are players going to bring that here?
Oh, it's certainly viable. We may not see it in the #1 slot like we saw at NAIC, but I absolutely expect to see lots of teams with Annihilate. Has so much flexibility with its coverage. You can run Ice Punch, you can run Shadow Ball, you can run Night Slash. We've seen plenty of Night Slash boosts as well. One of the premier counter users does a great job taking out some of those normal and steel types. I expect to see a lot here still at World, Speedy.
It's beautiful, it's sunny, the waves are crashing against the beach side here, but we have a weekend forecast for you as well involving the meta. Let's take a look at a unique pick that has made waves across APAC and EU. This is actually Giratina Origin form. It casts a massive shadow over the meta with its unique core-breaking potential. Amanda, talk to us a little bit about Giratina Origin form and how it fits in.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Dragons being with Altaria. Now we're going to introduce Giratina to the mix here too, because with its Dragon and Ghost typing, it's good against a lot of the meta. We talked about Charjabug, we talked about Annihilate. This one is going to be doing rather well. It's a unique pick. Like you said, I mean, we saw a lot of it in the APAC region, a little bit of it in Europe as well, Inadequate's winning Utrecht with it, but I don't know how many of them we will actually see here in Honolulu.
That's a great question, right? It takes a unique trainer and a very talented trainer to make that Pokemon work, but I'll tell you what, we have some really exciting things coming very soon as well. The new season update is just a couple weeks away, so let's take a little look at a teaser leading into that, and then also some really fun rewards that trainers can get. I guess like there's an encounter thread for Malamar, you can get Gastrodon as well. That's gonna be really, really fun to watch. But also, there are tons of rewards that trainers can pick up on as they watch the stream. So let's head into this next segment here. We have awesome Twitch drops that are available. Make sure to connect your account, enable it, and get these unique research tracks because they can definitely help you to pick up Pokemon that might be viable in a future season. As we like to say, Soph, most Pokemon are just 1 or 2 moveset updates away from being very, very strong.
That's right, and we're just a couple of weeks away from that new meta. Remember, the meta rotates pretty much every 3 months, so on September 1st, some of these Pokemon might be becoming more and more viable and perhaps even mainstream.
Exactly right. There's so many exciting events going on in the game, and if you're not here at the World Championships, you can still battle it out in the Go Battle League. 20 sets per day, 100 battles per day total, and that goes a week long. Jim, I know in between your casting rotations, you're going to be battling.
That's right, all 100, Speedy.
All 100, right? We have some unique encounters as well. Make sure to go out and find that scuba-themed Pikachu, and as well, Pokemon like Lickitung, Marill that have been meta-viable for a long time are also going to be available in the wild. Don't forget, you can also TM away frustration, which was a main feature of Adventure Week taken over. Amanda, talk to us about your shadows. Did you encounter any cool ones in the last event?
I mean, we talked about a bunch of shadow Pokemon earlier that we wanted to play with. Timber, obviously, is something kind of spicy, kind of interesting. What I was most happy that I ended up getting was my shadow Cresselia. So I wonder, actually, I think it's viable for here at Worlds. I know we keep saying, are we going to see it? But do you guys think we're going to see any shadow Cresselia over the regular one? Cresselia is so popular.
I'm thinking no. I think Cresselia in general is a Pokemon that you really want to have that bulk. You're not doing too much fast attack damage to begin with. I'm expecting to see a lot of regular non-shadow Cresselias. It would be cool to see one though. Maybe we get a little bit of spice here at Worlds.
There are definitely some favorite trainers heading into the competition. We have to talk about the elephant in the room, Doonbug 97, the first trainer to win 3, that's not 1, that's not 2, that's 3 regional championships in a single season, and he did the last one with a Shadow Pidgeot. So, is there anything that Doonbug can't do?
Well, he's incredibly powerful in every format. Actually, the first trainer to ever hit Legend rank in the Go Battle League, most regional championships of any trainer out there, and I know he's going to want to close out his historic season with a strong finish here at Worlds.
Doonbug might be the favorite from North America, but there are 3 other incredible trainers that I think have what it takes to take the trophy home. Those are Lyle Jeffs III, Out of Pocket, and It's Accent. It's a strange world we live in, Jim, where our reigning world champ is on the second slide.
Yeah, that's right. But we really have to look at all 3 of these trainers because we have Lyle Jeffs actually won 2 regional tournaments, not just Doonbug winning multiple, Lyle Jeffs winning multiple regionals as well. He's a force to be reckoned with. Out of Pocket, he has the momentum on his side though. Just won NAIC with some really interesting picks as well, but never discount the reigning world champion, It's Accent. I know he's hungry to try and get that back-to-back world champion title. Will he do it? Make sure you guys stay tuned.
Let's sail across the Atlantic and take a look at the EU region because Palasha has been cooking. Amanda, tell us about Palasha and her Shadow Magnezone.
Yeah, that Magnezone play has actually put Palasha on the map for sure. She's been a fantastic battler this whole season. Even though championship points were just introduced, she actually got all of her championship point qualifications from her regional competitions, top cutting in 5 of the 8 of them that she did. I mean, she didn't even need any local points, but those local points ended up putting her basically at the top of the EU leaderboard after that.
I've heard that her teams have inspired trainers from all across the world, not just in the EU, but let's stay there for just another second longer and talk about these 3 trainers. Colin, a 2 times regional champion this season, Emmy Weedle, the EUIC champion, and Inadequance, who I think really popularized the Giratina Origin pick. What do you think, Soph?
Absolutely, and Inadequance is really talented with using a huge variety of Pokemon. Obviously, we saw that in his regional win, or his special event win, but as well in grassroots formats and in the Go Battle League, he's really well known for making these lesser-known Pokemon viable.
Let's travel back across the Atlantic and a little further south to the LATAM region. This is LNDS Hard Jeff, the first trainer in the world to have a 100% win rate. Did not drop a single game at his regional competition in Curitiba, and then he followed it up with an LAIC victory. Jim, is there anything that Hard Jeff can't do?
I don't know. I was actually there at the LAIC championship there, and it was just such an enigmatic, just amazing type of atmosphere there at the LATAM Regional Championships. Hard Jeff was the spotlight, though. You could just feel all the energy, not only that he had, but extended to all of the rest of his teammates and compatriots as well. It was just such an outstanding event. He has had so much success, not only at the IC level, but at regional levels as well, and he now wants to translate that to world. He's been traveling all around the globe, and I think that he has a really good shot of taking home the title of world champion.
When Hard Jeff won in Sao Paulo, he talked about competition, but he also talked about family. Let's take a look at a couple other trainers, like you said, Jim, his teammates and friends, LNDS Just Muniz, LNDS T. Steiner, and then D. Sync, who has one of the sickest pictures I've ever seen on his card. He looks awesome, and his Shadow Quagsire has really upended the meta. It's going to be really exciting to see how these trainers perform. I think any one of them has what it takes to bring it all home. With that being said, let's go ahead and head down to the Oceania region. There is one trainer there that won 2 regional championships this season as well. He's going Yako mode. This is Jakobrovic, Amanda.
Yeah, Jakobrovic was actually, we've talked about trainers who have won multiple titles in one season. He was the first trainer for Pokemon Go to be able to do so, just doing it basically hours before Dunebug was able to. Jakobrovic is well known across the whole PvP scene. A lot of trainers saying he's like one of the best players in the world. They're very fearful to be playing against him. I'm really excited to see what tricks he has up his sleeve.
What really stands out to me about Jakobrovic's gameplay is that he just outskills everyone. He wears you down over time. He pushes it all the way to game 10 of the grand finals and then just barely is able to beat you, but he does it with such control, such poise. Let's talk about some of his other Australian competitors and trainers from the Oceania region. It's kind of remiss not to mention Rick Flareon, Avrip, and Rocket Claire. Jim, zero in on these trainers.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see because I think that Rick Flareon and Avrip actually competed last year at Worlds as well, so they have some of that experience. Our newcomer is going to be Rocket Claire, and we've seen her take down some of the biggest names in the Oceania region. So I think that she has just as good a shot as anyone coming in here, maybe with a little bit less experience at the world stage, but I think her chances are great here in 2024.
One of the things to look out for is the brackets, are the records, the final standings. Rocket Claire has taken down some of the best trainers in the Australia-New Zealand area, and I don't think she's going to be stopping anytime soon now that she's here in Hawaii. Let's head over to APAC and look at some of those trainers, because in the TPC region, we don't get to see those battles very often, but we know beyond the shadow of a doubt that Crescent Angels is absolute fireworks on the stage. Tell us about him.
Well, he's been a veteran at these World Championships. He's actually the only trainer from Japan to have qualified for the World Championships in 2022, 2023, and this year. And he was actually top 3 at those first ever World Championships, making a lot of flashy plays. And I know a lot of trainers are going to be excited to watch him again.
I distinctly remember Crescent Angels catching on a 1 HP Pokemon and just kind of looking around at the crowd saying, oh yeah, you like that? I'll do it again. Crescent Angels is one of the most talented trainers I have ever seen on the stage. But let's head over and look at some other trainers from the APAC region that might be making waves. We've got Booty, Beelzeboy, and BJ Powat. I'm going to come back to you, Soph. Tell us a little bit about these players.
Yeah, BJ is actually another repeat World Championship player, actually the 2-time champion of the Thailand region, and I know he's excited to be here again. Beelzeboy, I believe, Indian regional champion this year, and really a lot of strong performances on the grassroots circuit as well, so really excited to see what he can do here. And then I believe Booty, actually a 3-time Worlds competitor as well, so really going to be exciting to see how he does this year.
Well, we highlighted trainers from all across the world, from all these different regions, but it feels like all these trainers have certain things in common. They have great timing, they know their counts very well, they know their Pokemon typings, they know how to build a team. Amanda, I just want to ask you really briefly, what do you think the most important factor is when a trainer tries to take that step to the next level? Is it energy and counts? Is it team reading? What's your opinion?
That is a really good question. I think obviously there are a lot of players who will say that, charge attack timing, optimal move timing is important, and it absolutely is. There are so many trainers, however, as well, that are here because they have amazing team reads, because they're able to get inside their opponent's head as well, just deciding, is there an off-meta pick? Is there something that actually counters what I think everyone is going to bring? Tonton Zavatous was a great example of that at EUIC a couple previous years ago, bringing a Shadow Dragonair into a meta that just completely destroyed all of his opponents.
Jim, do you agree? Do you think those are the most important factors?
For me, I think it's going to be composure. When you look at some of these trainers, a lot of them do have Worlds experience. Some of them don't. All of them have had their own unique pathways here to Worlds, though. They've had to have some sort of challenges in the face of just absolute challenges. Now that said, I do think that there are going to be some trainers that stand out, trainers that we see that remain composed, trainers that know that despite some of the challenges that they're going to be facing here, that they can maintain that mental focus and not be distracted, make sure that they're focused on the prize, which is gaining the title of world champion.
Jim says composure. Do you agree, Soph?
Yeah, I have to add that I think just line reading in this Show 6 format is really important. We have thousands and tens of thousands of players playing in the Go Battle League, but when you make that transition to the Championship Series circuit, you have to play a little bit differently, thinking more critically about what's in the back as opposed to what might just be the best general play, assuming that anything could be in the back.
Now, the reason I asked you all of that is because you all submitted a pick for who you thought could take that trophy home on Championship Sunday. So let's get into our caster predictions and see if those trainers have all the tools that they need in order to win here in Honolulu, Hawaii. So if I'll come back to you, these Pokemon are very, very powerful. Do you think your spotlighted trainer is going to use any of these?
I certainly hope so. I know Shadow for Alligator is one that hasn't been used quite as much. We saw Out of Pocket do very well with the regular for Alligator, but I think it's really powerful, a really good safe swap as well. So hopefully we see some trainers getting to use that Shadow for Alligator.
Jim, you've got some spicy picks. Tell us about Shadow Quagsire, Shadow Gligar. I rarely see those these days.
Well, the Shadow Gligar Lickitung core, I think when we talk about composure, we talk about consistency. I think that those are the Pokemon that when you have those cycles, some trainers can actually stand out versus others, even though they're playing the exact same Pokemon. When you have some of those cycles under your belt, I think that we'll see some of those trainers standing out with those very consistent Pokemon. That said, I think that Shadow Quagsire does have what it takes here to be that premier Mud Boy here at Worlds, with access to Stone Edge, some flexibility with Mud Bomb, and then a very fast charging Aqua Tail. Lots of great play, and let's not discount the Skeledirge though. Only Pokemon that resists all of its moves would be a normal fire type. I don't think we're going to be seeing that today, so I think we're going to see a lot of flexibility from the Skeledirge. Maybe it can bring home the world title.
Probably not very many Leos in the meta currently, right, Jim? So that's a very safe pick. Amanda, you were the only trainer to bring Azumarill as one of your 4. Tell us just briefly why you chose Azumarill.
I mean, if you think about it, all of your guys' picks, you're talking about Guzzlord, Skeledirge, there's some Vigoroths as well. I mean, look at yours, Will. I mean, Azumarill does well against all of them except for basically Charjabug there. I think it is a staple pick. It's something that's been around since the very beginning, but it's been around for a reason. But the main thing I'm wondering is, are we going to see some Hydro Pump on the Azumarills nowadays? Because normally it's been running Ice Beam and Play Rough. However, I think it does a little bit better against, say, if there's like a Bastiodon or something like that in the meta.
Exactly. I think a lot of trainers are wondering, is Azumarill too slow? Can it keep pace with these new meta picks? But let's zero in on the trainers that we think can use these Pokemon, can use these tools to win a world championship. It looks like we all picked a different trainer. I chose S. James P. I think he has what it takes in terms of technical proficiency, composure. I mean, his win earlier this season was just so thrilling to watch, and he didn't seem to break a sweat the entire time. So tell us about your prediction.
Yeah, I think Paula has just been such a consistent trainer, reached top 16 at the World Championships last year, and this season she just hasn't missed. I think she's been top 4 in almost all of her tournaments this season, including at EUIC, and like Amanda was saying earlier, really kind of defined the meta with that Magnezone pick, inspiring a lot of trainers around the world, so I'm really, really excited to see how she does here.
Jim, you mentioned composure as being the most important trait for a successful trainer. How does your pick's composure set them apart?
Yeah, thank you, Will. When we look at Hard Jeff, he plays with so much emotion, so much heart. He's had the experience. He's won the ICs. He's won the regionals. He's played trainers from all around the world, regularly traveling to the North American regional tournaments and ICs as well. I think that he has the experience. I think he has the technical ability, and I think that he has the composure, able to maintain focus in the heat of battle. He's my prediction here for 2024.
Amanda, your pick, Jakobrovich. I think he makes some of the best team reads I've ever seen out of any competitor. Is that why you picked him?
I mean, Yako just doesn't lose. He's only played in 2 tournaments this season. He took home the gold in both of them. If he's going to go ahead and be competing at Worlds as well, I mean, if he's keeping up that track record, I think I have a pretty good pick in mind.
The Pokemon World Championships are a celebration of all things Pokemon, including our sister titles. We have some awesome rewards for our viewers at home. This is our VGC distribution. You can get a Sylveon, and not just any Sylveon, a World Champions Sylveon from Tomoya Ogawa's 2023 World Championship team. Make sure to enter that code at the bottom of the left side of the screen, Sleep Talk Worlds, in order to add that Sylveon to your roster. But it doesn't stop there. We also have Twitch drops for for the trading card game. Beautiful artwork here across the board, and make sure to pick up these rewards so you can enter into the TCG Live and take on your competitors, train up for Worlds, and get ready for next year. But I know what everybody's waiting for. We want to see those Pokemon Go Twitch drops. Amanda, tell us about this avatar t-shirt.
How adorable is it? This is the Pikachu that is being presented because of Worlds here with this cute little scuba diving and snorkeling gear. You can get it on a t-shirt. You can start sporting it as well when you're doing your Go Battle League battles. Make sure to put in that code. I'm not going to read it off for you guys. You're going to have to take a screenshot of that.
Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that this is one of the coolest looking shirts that we've had in-game. I know a lot of people are fans of the Yokohama 2023 shirt. This one is so cute, just like you said, so I'm really, really excited to see all the in-game items, all the Twitch drops. There's special research here at the event as well. So many things to be excited for, not just the battles, all the access to additional resources as well to try and put you on that next step, especially with Go Battle Week going on. You want to make sure that you're hoarding those resources, building those Pokemon for PvP.
I want everyone to do me a favor. If you're watching at home, get active in the chat. No matter where you're watching, let us know what you're most excited for at the World Championships. And also, get online on these other platforms as well. X, formerly known as Twitter. Make sure to use that hashtag Pokemon Worlds. You can watch on YouTube. Check out Facebook and Instagram as well. Share your stories, because even though we are here in person, we are all part of this Pokemon Go World Championship experience, and we all want to hear how your day is going and how your weekend is progressing as you cheer on your favorite competitors. I want to ask around the table one more time for some final thoughts, what you're most excited for, and maybe we can get some inspiration for the chat at home.
Yeah, I just want to say, this is a championship. Everyone here is a champion in their own right, of course. I mean, they've qualified for it, they've made it, but this is really where they have to test their mettle. This is where they have to, like you talked about, Jim, have a little bit of composure, realizing, good gameplay positions, and just, there can only be one champion, unfortunately, but it's going to be pretty exciting for everyone to watch.
Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say to all the trainers participating here, it's parity for everyone. This is an even playing field, regardless of whether you've won 4 regionals or none. This is your opportunity. This is your moment. You can be that trainer that takes home the title of world champion. Believe in yourself and you can do it.
Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I mentioned at the top of the show that I was really excited to see all these trainers from around the world getting to compete against each other. We've seen trainers like Jakobovic dominating
Mashín.
Australia, Dunebug, of
Comenta.
course, dominating the
A
US,
6 Nebu
and it's really exciting just to see how
63K9
they're
a
going to
8.
get to play against each other.
As the Hawaiian saying goes, there is no
Mashín.
cliff so tall that
Comenta.
it cannot be climbed.
Código
Right
POKÉMON
here,
Go.
right now, this is the moment that so many trainers have been waiting for their entire lives, and it's up to them to seize the moment. Let's take a look here at what it takes to make a champion.
This is the final international event of our 2024 season. And we're so excited to watch our competitors solidify their invites to Worlds 2024 in Honolulu, Hawaii.
The stakes get higher and higher the closer we get to that coveted world champion title. This is your last opportunity.
There is a lot on the line for every single player out here. It has been a long season with a lot of Pokemon coming out on top.
Hello, Pokemon fans, and welcome to the kickoff of the 2024 season.
Mirage Gate, that is it. Oh, wow. Andrew Estrada.
Riley Factura taking the first regional,
And Michael Zhang.
I'm really excited to see that team again. The previous time I was on stream, we kind of both underestimated a little bit.
Giovanni Costa.
The double crit! Arjet, a smile on his face. Game number 5 goes to Arjet.
Here it is, Mirage Gate, gonna power up Giratina V-Star, and John Eng is the Portland Regional Champion.
Then he takes it. The Charlotte Miracle.
Torn Reclev is your 5-time international champion.
Urshifu, close combat, it's it holds on!
Wolf becomes a repeat champion.
3-time Worlds qualified competitor. No one can do it like Dunebug.
Other trainers should consider me a threat because I never back down, I never feel like I'm out of a game, and I'm always going to give it my best.
Do people not see the 3 regional championships I have?
I do not mess up very often, and I'm not going to start messing up.
Probably the best of the world right now, so they should be threatened.
I'm threatening in the way that any other competitor who is qualified for Worlds is threatening.
Somos la mejor región de Latinoamérica Sur.
I think if the other players at the World Championships don't consider me a threat, then they have not done their research.
all of these events really just lead up to Worlds. We've had some phenomenal players win this season, and
players are better now than they've ever been. You get a lot of people from different places in the world, and
It'll be the biggest Worlds so far. It's going to be an incredibly difficult feat to try and win it all.
It's never a guarantee. Everyone is phenomenal. Everyone is doing great service to the game at the World Championships.
Only one person can win, so everyone's going to have a story.
I am absolutely winning Worlds this year. I am unstoppable right now.
I am definitely winning Worlds this year.
I will be winning the World Championship this year.
I'm winning the World Championships. If not this year, then eventually.
gonna give it my all, you know.
who knows how far I'll go. But I've always said I've wanted to get another Pikachu trophy, so.
I'll pour my heart and soul into it once again. I will see how far it takes us.
I do think I have a chance.
I think I do have a good shot.
I want to have fun more than anything.
If I could battle anybody at the World Championships, it'd be Tor Director.
I would love to face off against Tord again.
If I hit Azul in the Worlds Finals, that would have been amazing.
Azul.
It's gotta be Gabriel Agati.
Doonbug.
Justin Tang.
Grant Chen.
I think the World Championship is literally the only thing I haven't won. So that's like the last thing I need to collect for my trophy case.
It would be life-changing.
Winning Worlds would mean the world to me. There were a lot of people when I won Worlds the first time that sort of teased me about it being Seniors World when Ray was taking his 3rd crown, and I've always kind of wanted to prove them wrong.
I think that if I were to win the World Championships again, it would mean that I am undisputably the best player of all time.
Being able to tell my 10-year-old self that, hey, your dreams actually did come true would be something magical.
It takes grit, it takes determination, it takes passion, love, and care to become a Pokemon World Champion. And so many trainers have their hearts set on the title this very weekend. I want to gather some final thoughts before we jump into the competition. Amanda, what would you say to everyone watching at home and all the trainers here in the arena?
I mean, one thing that you've said, I think you also need some confidence. If you hear all of those competitors, they are determined to win Worlds. I think everyone is watching is in for a treat, regardless if you're here in this packed stadium or if you're at home. And if you're at home, Twitch drops.
Jim.
Yeah, what's most exciting for me is that we don't regularly get to see the different regions facing off. We see a lot of regionals that are within particular region, right? We see our LATAMs, our North America, our APAC regions, but now we get to see them all facing off, in some cases for the first time. So I expect some electric battles here this weekend.
So many talented trainers here, so many champions here, and I think it's really just going to come down to who is able to stay cool, calm, and collected. So my advice for the competitors is just do what you need to do to stay in the zone.
It's been a long road, but we are finally here. The 2024 Pokemon Go World Championships are underway right now. So if you're ready, trainers, lock in, good luck, and have fun. Casters, over to you.
Aloha trainers, it is the 2024 Pokemon Go World Championships here in Honolulu, Hawaii. My name is Caleb Pang, and I have the privilege and honor to share this booth with my friend, 2-Up Butters, Steven Sanders. How you doing this morning?
I'm amazing. How could you not be excited when the best Pokemon trainers have traveled here from across the globe with a dream of becoming a Pokemon World Champion? This is the biggest Pokemon Worlds yet, with over 200 competitors. Let's take a look at how they will compete this weekend.
The 2024 Pokemon World Championships event will be showcasing the best Pokemon Go trainers and matches all weekend. Trainers from around the world are here to compete for the title of World Champion. Over $2 million in prizing and return invitations for next year's Worlds. Day 1, our trainers will compete in double elimination groups using the Great League format in Pokemon Go. Day 2, the best trainers from Day 1 will continue to battle until only the final 2 trainers remain. Day 3, our trainers compete in their final matches until a World Champion is crowned. Matches are best of 3, except for the Winners Finals, Losers Finals, and Grand Finals, which are all best of 5. All matches will be played in a Bring 6, Pick 3 format. This means that all players will create a team of up to 6 Pokemon, of which 3 will be brought to each game. Who will take the title of Pokemon World Champion this weekend? Will its Axon be able to defend his title as the World Champion? Watch to find out, and follow all of the action at Pokemon.com/play.
You
said it perfectly, Butters. We have 200 competitors here, over 200 for Pokemon Go, and this is pretty much double of what we had last year. We're in our 3rd year for Pokemon Go on the official circuit. I'm very excited to see and be a part of the largest tournament to date so far.
And remember, it's been a gap since the last tournament, so the meta has time to change a lot. So actually, let's look at that day 1 usage. Let's see if any of these meta trends that we predicted actually showed up. And look at this. Lickitung is actually number 1, but how about this? Double electric in the top 5, Caleb.
It's an electric meta right here. I know some people were doubting the Lantern, especially after that Spark nerf back in June. But the thing is, everyone's now pivoting over to Water Gun Lantern. And in my opinion, I think it's actually even better in this current meta, better into Gligar. You still beat Skarmory. You still have a lot more play into those water ground types like Quagsire. You even have the potential to even beat it too. The thing that was holding Lantern back was that mirror matchup against opposing Spark Lantern. But if no one's running Spark, Water Gun Lantern is here to play, and this fish is not going anywhere.
I mean, look at it against the top 12 here. It literally only has one terrible matchup, which is the Altaria. It's going to be able to wall all the energy that is electric and water. Cresselia is not great. Cresselia is going to be able to outpace that Water Gun Lantern, but even against Lickitung in the 1 Protect Shield situation, it's not bad. That was one of the trends that you're hearing rumblings about going into the tournament, that a lot of trainers are bringing double electric, and it's true. It's a fact now because double electric is in the top 5. We even see Azumarill, I believe, was in that top 6 there, which was another meta trend that we thought was going to happen. So looks like a lot of these trainers are right. So I feel like they're on the right page to be able to predict what is going to be at the World Championships this year.
Yeah, I think a lot of these trainers are really preparing and trying to anticipate what other players are going to bring, because we've only had 1 tournament so far in this meta, and this is the second and only other one. So a lot of people are saying, well, hey, I saw this at NAIC, and I think these might be the adjustments I'm making. I'm seeing a lot more Lantern usage, obviously, based on the usage, but a huge drop-off in Gligar usage as well. One of the strongest Pokemon throughout the entire season, but with access to Water Gun on that Lantern and, of course, Skarmory's around, Gligar has 2 pretty hard checks in this meta, and I think a lot of people are anticipating the increase of Skarmory usage as well. Lantern, which both have not the best matchups against Registeel, right? Registeel is going to struggle against Charge Bug, resisting all those charge attacks, but with Lantern around, Registeel has a lot more fight. Speaking of Registeel, we got it on stage, and we got a star-studded matchup to kick things off. We got Tauntaun Padus, the 2023 EUIC champion of Europe,
comenta,
and then we got LNDS
_Ivolo.
on the right-hand side, the 2024 LAIC champion. 2 international champions to kick things off here at World Championships.
Yeah, well, welcome to the World Championships, right? With this kind of matchup to start, it's time to find out who's going to be the main character of this year's story. And will it be Harjefi, who you saw in that video? He thinks he's at the top of his game, could be the best in the world right now. And he placed top 5 in 2 international championships this year. Of course, sweeping the Latin America International Championships, but coming all the way over to North America to place 5th. Behind a fellow Brazilian, LNDS Steinar, who actually got 3rd, and they played the exact same team. So he's very familiar with this meta because he's already been top 5 in this meta.
Yeah, definitely. And he has a whole list of accomplishments, multiple regional wins, international win as well. He's looking for his first and potential World Championships win. Let's take a look at the team here. He's got Altaria, Shadow Gligar, Vigoroth, Azumarill, Lantern, and Registeel. No Annihilate. Annihilate was, I think, #1 usage at NAIC, the only other tournament in this meta, but you can see a lot of people pivoting away from it, and you can see Harjep as well. A lot of Annihilate counters too to protect that Vigoroth.
And Vigoroth was the Pokemon of choice for him at that last international championship, and Tauntaun Padus also running that Vigoroth. But look at this! Running the Shadow Magnezone to start us off. Also, your pick, the Clodsire with the Mudshot Earth Power and Stone Edge, which I believe it's Earthquake Stone Edge, and Shadow Feraligatr, Cresselia in the Altaria as well. Double Altaria, double Vigoroth to start us off.
And his Shadow Feraligatr is actually running Crunch. A lot of people tend to opt for Ice Beam for better coverage against stuff like Altaria that really
comenta,
just, resists
esos
all the
códigos
other
donde
moves,
los cambio.
Really. But crunch is interesting because it gives it a lot more utility into stuff like Lantern, right? And expecting more water gun Lantern can be crucial for having that crunch access.
Right, and speaking of that, I feel like that is why maybe Tauntaun is going for the Mud Shot too on the Clodsire to try to have that super effective fast attack damage versus that Lantern that you are going to expect that is going to be on Harjeffi's team. And Harjeffi, I was talking to him yesterday, and he had a really complicated approach to how he prepared for these World Championships. A lot of data-driven analysis to try to decide what he'll run. I won't give away his details, but it was really awesome to hear how these trainers are going through such depths to prepare for the biggest moment of this season, because you have to be your best.
Te dan la playera del Mundial.
This is your opening matchup, and you're against another international champion.
And I talked to Harjeff yesterday. He said that he personally was a little bit worried about Clodsire against his team.
Wow,
that his team's a little bit weaker, hoping not too many people run Clodsire. And
Caleb, wait, let me add something. Or let me tell you something too. He said he was worried about Cresselia too. So Clodsire and Cresselia were the two Pokemon that he said he was a little worried about, and both of them are on Tauntaun's team.
Yeah, Tauntaun, one of the most creative team builders for sure. No stranger to running Spice Picks. Not maybe the spiciest team, but his team, I would say, is still pretty far off from the meta, right? Clodsire, Shadow for Alligator, Shadow Magnezone, all not making that top 12 in usage either, but they have a lot of play in this current meta.
Mumacin.
I don't know.
Comenta. Entra al juego, ve a configuración ayuda, pones canjear código y te manda directo a la página.
The interesting thing about this matchup is there's no real hard answer for that Vigoroth. Vigoroth is going to be quite safe for both trainers because there's no Annihilate on either team, and even against Azumarill, even against Cresselia, yes, those can be losing matchups, but if you use some Protect Shields, you could either be in that matchup or it'll be a soft loss, which isn't the end of the world, especially for a trainer like Tauntaun, who might want to come in with that Shadow Magnezone. And actually that Shadow Magnezone is looking pretty strong against Harjeffi's team because it's good against Registeel, it's pretty good against Lantern, it's good against Azumarill, Gligar, it's okay, Altaria, it's good. It really just has to worry about the Vigoroth. So I think we're going to see a lot of Vigoroth from Harjeffi, and I think you might see the Magnezone from Tauntaun.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's a very solid point there too. The Water Gun Lantern is going to benefit a little bit more in that matchup before, you know, running Spark was resisted. The Water Gun damage for neutral really adds up, especially against a more frail Pokemon like Shadow Magnezone. But you're absolutely right. With energy advantage, with shield advantage, Shadow Magnezone has so much potential into Harjeff's team. He doesn't have a water ground type. He doesn't have the Clodsire. He has a Gligar, but Gligar, even taking resisted Wild Charge, still does quite a bit of damage. You had to land a dig. But here we go. It's going to be game number 1, Tauntaun versus Harjeff to kick things off. It's going to be a Cresselia into Shadow Gligar. Pretty neutral matchup.
Yeah, but look at this backline. You have the Shadow Magnezone in the back, and you're facing the Azumarill and the Altaria. This is your Shadow Magnezone counter in the lead here, but the good thing for Shadow Gligar and Harjeffi is Shadow Gligar in the one protection shield situation is pretty good against Cresselia. So looks like a no protect shield to start us off at the World Championships from Tauntaun.
Yeah, Harjeff definitely needs to preserve some of this Gligar if possible for that Magnezone because it's so strong in the backline. You can see Harjeff already valuing the Gligar, going to shield the Grass Knot, a little bit less damage than Moonblast, but Tauntaun still has 2 more moves to potentially take out this Gligar. Now goes through the Moonblast. It's going to connect onto that Shadow Gligar. Do we see a debuff, small debuff chance, but...
Oh, we actually gets it! What a way to start us at the World Championships!
Oh, and here comes a dig from Harjeff, farming as much energy as possible, staying composed. Tauntaun said, you know what? I'm probably going to save my shields for that Magnezone. I think it's a good call here.
I think he's... Wait. Oh, wait! Oh, no! Because of the debuff, he actually had to throw the Aerial Ace. That is a huge disadvantage for Harjeffi. He had to throw all that energy where otherwise he would have knocked out with the dig, and now comes the Shadow Magnezone. This Magnezone has a 2 protect shield advantage, and the Shadow Gligar's energy dry. Here's the swap into Altaria.
Oh, and we see Harjeff banking that dig, knowing that even if he throws, it's going to instantly be shielded. Tauntaun pursues over 2 Wild Charges at this point. Going to throw that first hard-hitting Wild Charge. Harjeff going to correctly shield, but Harjeff, no shields already. 0 to 2 shield disadvantage to kick things off, and Tauntaun still has both shields. A second Wild Charge coming through. neutral wild charge damage does a huge amount.
And he pivots!
Altaria.
And he pivots out of it. He does the damage. He pivots in the Vigoroth. Gonna try to go for the counter down, but is denied by a Moonblast here. Actually using the Protect Shield on this Vigoroth here, not saving it for that Shadow Magnezone in the back. Instead, using his first Protect Shield of the game to get that counter down. And now you have all that energy. The Shadow Gligar has some energy. You come with the Azumarill, and now do you bank some of that energy in case that Gligar comes in?
Yeah, that's one shield down on the side of Tauntaun, but two's Harjeff needs to grab the second shield somehow. He has the dig loaded for that Magnezone, but there's a whole shield he still needs to get through, and there's no way he could wing attack down this Magnezone from this health range. You can see he's trying to figure out how to play this around, but Tauntaun in that driver's seat, he knows he saves that shield for Magnezone. He's in a good position here, and Magnezone has an amazing play into Azumarill and Gligar, especially up a shield, and look at how much health is still on that Magnezone too. He's just trying to whittle down this Azumarill as fast as possible so that he could clear the way for that Magnezone sweep.
And we should point out, this is the Ice Beam. It's swapped on the Ice Beam, actually sacrificing the Magnezone here. This is going to be not very effective, so it might not knock out. Can you get the Volt Switch down? How much bubble pressure can you do? One Volt Switch, two bubbles. It's not going to knock out. Wait a second. Actually, it does. It does knock out. Now Tauntaun is regretting his decision because now he has to Protect Shield this Ice Beam or let it go and be dangerously low to getting knocked out. He lets it go. This is going to be so close. Can the fast attack pressure from Harjeffi get him back into this game? And here comes the swap. Here comes the wing attack. No! The body slam comes through. Now it's all going to come down to counter versus bubble. Who will knock out?
It's going to be super close. Harjeff doesn't need to throw a move. He just needs to throw bubbles. Can he get through?
One bubble, no!
The counter's going to come through. Tauntaun going to take game number one off of Harjeff.
Remember, that is a 2-turn fast attack with the counter. Bubble is 3 turns, so the 2-turn will register first. That one counter was enough to take the game 1 victory for Tauntaun Battus.
And we're hearing some of the crowds already chanting for their favorite competitor on stage. Love to hear the excitement there. Man, Tauntaun catching the Ice Beam, right? Resists the Ice Beam. You're thinking, all right, not that much damage from Magnezone, pretty frail, and then loses the Magnezone. And I thought, okay, maybe gave away his win condition there.
Comenta.
Just stay
Qué buena batalla.
firm on that Vigoroth, trying to sweep the back line.
And this was huge, Caleb.
Yes. That was massive too, wasting the energy on Harjeff. Harjeff's counting though pretty on point. He knew that there's gonna be a grass knot ready. If he didn't throw that aerial ace, he would just lost the Gligar and went down a shield. So at least he was able to take out the Cresselia, but that debuff really saved Tauntaun in that early game.
Imagine if he had an extra aerial ace throughout that matchup, right? Because he had to waste it because he got very unlucky with that Moonblast debuff. But, you know, that's what happens sometimes in Pokemon. So now he has to bounce back here. Remember, this is a trainer that's been top 5 and has won an international championship this season. So he has been so consistent. I wouldn't count him out of this series. In Tauntaun, actually, he was the 2023 European International Champion, but this year he was actually only 1-2 at EUIC. So he's coming off some rough performances, but this team so far super creative, and the way he played that in game number 1 was fantastic.
I mean, taking one game of Harjeff is no easy feat. No one's able to do that at Curitiba, right? So already taking one game off to kick things off. Feeling pretty good for Tauntaun. I think in that first game, Harjeff was really over-preparing for Clodsire. Knowing that he's weak to it, right? He brought the Gligar, the Azumarill, the Altaria, all having some decent neutral play into that Clodsire, right? Altaria probably being the worst one there, but he was scared to bring the Registeel. He didn't want to bring the Vigoroth as well because that's a losing matchup, but Vigoroth might be crucial for him to take out that Magnezone, because Magnezone was kind of hard for him to neutralize.
I agree, because it's not just that the Vigoroth can beat the Magnezone. It's like the only thing that's giving fast attack pressure, besides maybe the Water Gun Lantern. Everything else, you're just so comfortable double resisting wing attacks, resisting Dragon Breath. Lock On does 1 damage no matter what. And looks like we are locked into game number 2, and here it is. This is what Harjeffi needed. This is going to be the Vigoroth led into the Shadow Magnezone. You have to expect Tauntaun is going to instantly pivot, and he goes into his own Cresselia.
Yeah, Cresselia is an interesting save swap. There's not really an answer for it on the side of Harjeff. Just Registeel pretty much, but Registeel was not brought into this game. So quite the gamble, a good gamble from Tauntaun for sure. I think Harjeff's going to try to chip this down and either maybe just stay in and just farm down with energy, or going to take some of this damage and swap over to Gligar, because you really don't want to come into this with Azumarill either.
Yeah, and so you will take this chip damage onto the Vigoroth here. You can take some energy, and the thing is, actually throws the body slam right away, just trying to get some chip damage into this Cresselia to make sure that you keep the alignment into that Shadow Magnezone later. Because even if you are this low health with Vigoroth, you can still do a ton of counter damage into that Shadow Magnezone, and actually brings out his second best counter to the Magnezone, so he is a little vulnerable with his Azumarill if he gets led into that Magnezone in the back line.
I like this play by Harjeff though, because it's really uncomfortable for Tauntaun to come into a Gligar with the Magnezone, right? Magnezone's going to resist all that bolster damage. Great timing from Harjeff. They're on charge attack priority, trying to waste, get as much energy as possible and force Tauntaun to shield there first, or take it out with as much energy as possible. And here comes Magnezone into Gligar. Harjeff not messing around, going straight for dig through 2 shields. Tauntaun going to shield up this Magnezone. I like the play here because even with energy, Magnezone, not a great matchup into Vigoroth.
¿Cuál es tu favorito a ganar?
With that wild charge damage, and throws the mirror shot, I believe right on charge attack priority or right before it. It's going to be enough to take out the Gligar. Does Harjeff shield? No, going to save the shields because he knows he doesn't want to get hit by wild charge on the Vigoroth. Vigoroth comes in. Oh, mirror shot bait to kick things off. Going to grab a shield from Harjeff right away.
Gets the shield there, and now can you also get the attack drop? Mirror Shot can drop your attack by 1 stage. No, doesn't get the attack drop this time. Swaps into the Azumarill here, and the Vigoroth, they are both switch locked now, so this is actually pretty good for Harjeffi. It is shield parity here, but the thing is, if you soft lose this matchup and allow the farm down on that Shadow Magnezone, Harjeffi can be in trouble. So you have to be very delicate with this situation in front of you because you can't allow that Magnezone to set up.
Yeah, I think their timers are for the most part synced up, so I think Harjeff's play is, yes, I'm
El de la izquierda ya va cómodo.
My switch timer is pretty much up when I take it out, so I don't get that farm down, like you said, from that Magnezone. Magnezone still has a little bit of energy, though, because it went for a mirror shot bait earlier. It didn't even wild charge. So it definitely has a lot of play in the back end. But Harjeff trying to thread the needle here a little bit, keep the health bars as low as possible. Tauntaun Batu's already had 2 back-to-back body slams, so Harjeff just let this go.
Yeah, he does, and it's not going to knock out here, and he does let it go. The Azumarill hangs on, and he's able to throw the ice beam, but it's swapped once again, 2 games in a row, but actually decides to protect shield it. This is not very effective, but I think a Vigoroth throwing a body slam is going to do more damage than that ice beam. So actually uses his last shields, trying to get to the mirror shot, barely gets to the mirror shot. Will this get the last protect shield of the game from Harjeffi? You have to, because you have to get this counter down. But the Volt Switch is going to do a lot of damage too. Can you get the attack drop? Does he get it this time? He gets the attack drop. And now, can he get the counter down? He does get the counter down. He's loaded on energy. He just needs back-to-back body slams, but his charge attack priority. And it looks like Tauntaun trained for higher attack, and he's able to knock out the opposing Vigoroth of Harjeffi.
It's game 1 all over again, too. They're going to have to go for a bubble down or a counter down. Can the Azumarill get the bubble down this time around?
The revenge for Azumarill!
Harjeff's World Championship dreams are still alive here, tying up.
Wow!
1 HP in game 1, 1 HP in game 2. Vigoroth versus Azumarill in back-to-back games. These games can't get any closer.
My goodness. The same 2 Pokemon fast attacking down. I mean, it's elite energy management to be in that situation where all you have is your hopes of fast attacking down because you're trying to min-max all your charge attacks throughout the game. In those in-game
no era el escudo en el cambiazo.
Super complicated there, and it's just amazing how they ended the exact same way, and now we got a tie series. It's 1-1.
Yeah, a tie series for sure. I mean, just, you know, tough matchups for Tauntaun to lead into, right? That
comenta.
Into Vigoroth,
Guión
but
bajo jaja.
it's so hard, and you have to respect the shield, respect the damage from that Magnezone. I believe Harjeff shielded 2 mirror shots in that game. Didn't shield anything else, right? But even the bait move is threatening enough because it potentially could be that wild charge to force you to shield in that situation. But yeah, what a game here. We did get some information there. Looks like Tauntaun's Vigoroth does have a higher attack than the Vigoroth on the side of Harjeff. So that's really important knowledge for this game number 3. Harjeff now knows that that's going to be the outcome every time he matches up in that mirror matchup. So he has to figure out how to play around those matchups a little bit more. Meanwhile, Tauntaun can really take advantage of that higher attack, getting that charge attack priority in that mirror matchup. So you're going to see him probably leading with energy more or maximizing as much energy as possible, knowing that he gets that body slam off first in that head-to-head matchup.
Right, and we're expecting that mirror matchup, right? Because Vigoroth is so strong for both of these trainers, and now Tauntaun
El problema
knows
fue
he's
que
going to bring it
cambió
every
al
single
Pokémon
time,
sin
knowing he can win
farmear
charge attack
energía.
priority, and Harjefi didn't bring it game number 1. That's the game he lost. Game number 2, he brought it. He actually would have won earlier if he won that charge attack priority, because he had 2 body slams that got thrown into the trash there because he lost the charge attack priority. Now, we've seen Shadow Magnezone for 2 straight games. I think we're going to see it in game number 3. There is no clear answer besides that Vigoroth, and now you know you win the charge attack priority, so you're not as worried about that Vigoroth. So I think we're going to see Shadow Magnezone one more time. Looks like we're locked in the decisive game number 3, and here it is. It's going to be the Shadow Magnezone leading into the Shadow Gligar. You don't have to swap here, though. This isn't terrible at first.
Yeah, and we see
Comenta.
actually bring Registeel for
Estaba
the first
nervioso.
time here too, knowing that he's quite weak to Cresselia, and just going to say, you know what, if you have the Clodstar in the back, I'm probably going to lose the back-end match, but we'll see what we can do. Harjeff going straight away for the dig, and we're going to get a shield from Tauntaun right off the bat.
Is there a worse 50-50?
Ese es un error de
Double
novato.
not very effective or
José
double
Guido.
super effective, but
Comenta.
calling that one exactly
Lo sé porque
correct.
me
And
pasa
now
a mí.
you have to call if this
José
is going to be
Guido.
a mirror shot, which is technically
Comenta.
still bait. It is neutral,
Ja, ja,
and the other
ja, ja.
one is resisted, but Wild Charge just does so much damage. Can he get the attack drop one more time? No, I don't believe he got the attack drop.
No attack drop, going for the harder hitting Wild Charge, resisted damage, but this resistance damage doesn't look resistant at all. Almost one-shotting the Gligar. In comes the Cresselia. I like this play from Harjeff, farming up extra energy, and here comes the Registeel, the hard punish to this safe swap Cresselia.
And I really like how Harjefi banked that energy, but the health in the Gligar is out of range of getting knocked out by a counter, and maybe out of range of getting knocked out by a Volt Switch. Probably a Volt Switch will knock out, so can he capitalize on those 2 charge attacks in the in-game without getting knocked out and wasting that
Ya ganó
energy?
la
But this is
cafetera.
perfect. Like you mentioned, the team read adjustment. The Cresselia has been really strong, so this time he brings the Registeel in the back.
And you know Harjeff here is not going to just throw the Zap Cannon right away. He wants to come away with as much energy as possible. I mean, if you look at the back line of Tauntaun, that energy on the Registeel has so much play into both the Vigoroth and the Magnezone. There's no easy way to finish off this Registeel. You can see Tauntaun just going for the grass on damage, just trying to get as much damage as possible off on this Registeel, because this big steel robot is not easy to take out.
Yeah, and the thing is, oh, here's the swap on the Zap Cannon. Look at that catch from Tauntaun here to take the resisted damage and soak it on a Shadow Magnezone. You never soak damage on Shadow Magnezone, gets the debuff, and then 2 counters, just throws the Magnezone out of there. I don't need you anymore, but Tauntaun is going to have an uphill battle because that's a 2 counter advantage for Harjefi on his Vigoroth.
And let's not forget, Harjeff has almost back-to-back aerial ace energy banks on the Gligar, over dig with the energy as well. It's not going to be easy to play out this backline. Tauntaun, a fantastic catch, but he's still in a really tough position.
Yeah, and this second body slam is going to get protection here, but Tauntaun knows, I mean, he has to throw his own body slam here, and Harjefi knows it too. He knows he has this game in the bag here, and here comes the body slam, here comes the protection. Harjefi is trying to bring in the crowd here. He's feeling very confident in this moment, in this victory, because he has all that energy banked, plus, because of the 2 counter advantage, he's already at the next body slam, so he's going to secure the knockout into the mirror Vigoroth.
Esta gente es muy buena.
Energy on the Gligar, going to throw a Tauntaun, not able to swap and catch the energy on the
José
Cresselia.
Guido.
Gligar connects
Comenta.
with the first aerial ace.
¿Crees
It's going to
ganarle?
build up to dig first before going into the Cresselia, or can even swap to the Registeel. No, just going to throw the aerial ace here. You can see Tauntaun already saying GG's, conceding here, recognizing that he is going to take the loss in this first series. You see Registeel is too hard to be stopped. Registeel coming back in this meta, and this is exactly why. Going to lock on down, going for the focus blast. Even Harjeff is going to take your first series here at World Championships against Tauntaun Battus.
You hear the cheers from the LNDS team there in the crowd. What an opening matchup at 2024 Pokemon Worlds in Honolulu. Harjefi continuing
Comenta.
his
Se
consistency,
rindió.
which I think is going to be so important in this tournament. There's so much parity in Pokemon Go PvP. So these
José
trainers
Guido.
that can be this
Comenta.
consistent are probably
Qué
going to make
pendejo.
it to day number 2 on Saturday.
I mean, and you said it too, right? His biggest fear was what? Cresselia and Clodsire. He faced both, right, in that first series against Tauntaun Patus. But Tauntaun actually didn't even bring the Clodsire, but that Magnezone also looked like a huge pain.
Yeah.
However, Hardjet finding a way around it. I mean, Tauntaun, I've never seen someone catch so many moves on a Magnezone ever, but he was catching moves left and right on the Magnezone, but just unfortunately not enough bulk to sustain even the resistant moves on that Magnezone.
I want to give a lot of credit to Tauntaun because he's such a creative battler. Not only with his team compositions, making Shadow Dragonair really strong, in the past having so many spicy teams being so successful. But even in this situation, running a very unique team with that Clodsire, with that Shadow Magnezone, and then playing the Shadow Magnezone in a way that we never see, going in and catching resisted charge attacks, caught 2 Ice Beams. I think every single game caught an Ice Beam game 1, Ice
Pero
Beam game 2,
quiso
Zap
usar a
Cannon in
Magnezone.
game number 3. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to win, but of course, this is double elimination here at the World Championship, so he's not out of it quite yet.
Yeah, and we see in this third game too, the Registeel really coming in. It is not easy to catch a Zap Cannon or any moves from Registeel. These are one-turn lockouts. You have to be completely on point within half a second to catch those moves. But Hardjet, you can see, recognizing his win condition, you can catch all the moves you want, Tauntaun, but I'm still going to come away with the victory here. You can see the excitement on Hardjet's face after that first game 1 loss, able to come back 2-0 on the next 2 games.
And you can see the excitement, the motivation here, because I don't think you could be in a worse hole. First off, he was worried about Clodsire, Cresselia, and then Shadow Magnezone was tough versus his team. And then his own Vigoroth doesn't win charge attack priority versus the opposing Vigoroth. And also, he was down 0-1 in that series, but able to pull off that reverse sweep. And how about that call in game number 3? You called it out early. Even though he knows he's kind of weak to that Vigoroth in the back, he ran the Registeel because he was expecting the Cresselia pivot, and he had it happen, and then that's probably what gave him the swing advantage to win the entire game.
Yeah, and that was a big call from him too, because if that Registeel was locked down to a Clodsire, it would have been a little role reversal there, resisting everything the Registeel has. There's no really harder matchup for Registeel than that Clodsire, but it was only on the bench, a little bench pressure for Tauntaun. Tauntaun's not out of it yet, or any of our trainers who have lost their first set of battles. It is a double elimination tournament, and we saw Dancing Rob, our world champion from 2022, losing, I think, round 2 in World Championships and storming all the way through the loser bracket to make it to back to grand finals and win the whole thing. So anything is possible here, especially for Tauntaun Patus as well.
You can't count out anyone here at the World Championships. Of course, their journey led them here from their accomplishments this season. Whether you qualified through winning a regional, winning an international championships, or you got enough championship points to get here, or even in some APAC regions you won a qualifier, they are all here for a reason, because they performed really well in the 2024 season. So we're not going to count out Tauntaun Patus. I loved this team, actually. It was super exciting to watch. I mean, super creative with the Clodsire. We never got to see it, but Shadow Magnezone, if that's going to be the meta that Hardjet has, and a lot of trainers have teams like that, looks like Shadow Magnezone is going to be pretty strong here.
Yeah, and I mean, how can you count out Tauntaun, right? Game 2, he was 1 HP, HP away from taking the whole series. But Hardjet able to bubble down before the countdown added up, set up for that Game 3 victory for him. So we're going to see, and definitely follow along the bracket if you want to see how other trainers are doing, Tauntaun or other ones that aren't featured on the broadcast as well, because we're going to show so many matchups, but so many of these matches look really good. But for those tuning in, make sure you're checking out our Twitch drops as well. Live here, we have Twitch drops for Pokemon Go. Day number 1 here, we got Sableye Candy, Sableye XLs as well. XL Candy, something you need to make a really good Sableye for Great League, or if you're really feeling spicy for Ultra League maybe even. We got Elite TMs as well. Those are hard to come by, one of the rarest resources in Pokemon Go. And of course, everyone could use more Stardust, and me personally, I love a little bit more XP too.
I could use it. I could use it personally, and thank you to everyone that's watching right now. If you have any friends, tell them about these Twitch drops, because an Elite TM, I know I could use some of those. I could use some XP. I'm still grinding out that level 50, and I'm always low on Stardust. Plus, a Sableye encounter is 750 Stardust too, so a ton of awesome Twitch drops. Make sure to take full advantage, not just today, but throughout the weekend. Of course, we have day number 2 Twitch drops, day number 3 Twitch drops, and also we have a special surprise later today. I believe we are going to be unveiling some updates of a new meta coming up, so make sure
Carlos
to tune in throughout
Ceballos.
the stream and make sure
Bienvenido,
to be here
Padawan.
at the end of the day as well.
Carlos
I like the sound of
Ceballos.
that. The real question is, Lanter's
Comenta.
still going to be meta relevant.
Saludos,
It's not
Mumacin.
going away anytime soon, based on what we're seeing here
Mumacin.
in these tournaments. But
Comenta.
yeah, we're going to have to stay tuned
Guión
for that.
bajo
But,
buenas.
yeah, amazing Twitch drops there. I know a buddy of mine just got into Pokemon Go PP, right? Took a few years off, came back to the game, and starting to play some Go Battle League. He's like, man, this Surf from Swamper's not doing enough damage. I was like, yeah, you need Hydro Cannon on that, right? And the best way to get that is using that Elite Charge TM. So great resource for those getting into the game. And of course, for those that are veterans to the game, you can always use more Elite TMs, right? Upgrade your Pokemon.
José
I
Guido.
built a new Feraligatr the other day with
Comenta.
Hydro Cannon. Had to use
Hola,
one there.
Carlos
So
Zavallo.
really important resource for Pokemon Go PvP.
Well, we got a pleasant surprise. We're actually going to hear from
José
the
Guido.
Latin America International
Comenta.
Champion himself to see how
Deja
he's
tu
feeling
like,
after
por
that
favor.
first matchup. Take it away, Jim.
All right, thank you, Caleb. Thank you, Steven. Welcome, everyone. We're here in the lounge with the LAIC champion, fresh off his victory, LNDS Harjeff. Harjeff, I just want to touch base with you now. How are you feeling after that incredible first game?
Man, amazing. I'm still shaking, and it was a great game against Tonton. So, he's a very good battler. So, I'm very happy with the win. So, and good to be with you here.
For those at home that may not have seen Harjeff before, multiple regional champion, LAIC 2024 champion as well, and now he's here on the world stage. You lost the first game though, Harjeff. Tell us about how you felt traveling all the way here to Hawaii and feeling that moment where I could lose my first match. How did you recover after that?
Yeah, it was exactly that. I was pretty confident on my first game because I think I have a good composition, but the debuff from the Cresselia,
the Moonblast.
Cresselia destroyed me, so I have to get back after that. So actually it was hard, but I was pretty confident that that's my tournament. I can't lose right now. The first game, I have a lot to climb, so first game I will win.
Lots of battles still left here for you. Congratulations again. Now I'm curious, when you were originally playing in the regionals and LAIC, much different meta than we're seeing right now. How have you adapted now to this late season meta compared to some of your original victories early season?
I practice a lot, so the changing meta is just one thing that helps good players. So I'm always battling, I'm always practicing, so I think I can do well in every meta, so I'm pretty confident on that.
I'm looking forward to your next battles. Last question here for you. I know that you've had an incredible journey here, so much support, a lot of folks from your home country, international, a lot of support as well. Is there anyone that you'd like to shout out or say thank you to?
I want to shout out my wife, Viviana. Is helping me a lot. I always support every single day. So she's here with me. She was with me in Yokohama, so she's always with me. And I want to shout out every one of my friends at home, family, and the Jebelindo's family as well. I know they are watching right now. I know they're cheering for me a lot. They were cheering here in Hawaii, and they are cheering at home. So without them, this couldn't be possible.
Whenever we see the LNDS, we feel the energy. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of your matches. Thank you again for the time, and best of luck in the rest of your battles.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, and that's awesome to hear. I know Harjeffi and his wife actually got married at the last Pokemon World Championship, so happy 1-year anniversary to them both, and awesome to see the support from not only her and his entire teammates, his entire region. We heard him in the audience. What a way to start us off, right? I mean, he said he was still shaking, but he is a trainer that's incredibly consistent and composed. I feel like to open up a world championship, being down 0-1 could be a tough position to be in, but he bounced back with fashion, and now he is moving on in his bracket, which of course, every bracket is tough at the World Championships.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these matchups too. I mean, you can feature pretty much anyone on the big stage. You're going to be guaranteed to be a fantastic matchup. We have a fantastic matchup coming up soon for y'all. It's going to be Abhinav versus Goji. Abhinav, one of our players from India who actually has played in a lot of North America tournaments too, is actually qualified for World Championships through North America, actually studying here. And then we're getting Goji in Korea. So haven't seen a lot of Goji on the stage. It might be the first time actually on the big stage for Goji as well. So very excited to see what team he's running and his play style.
that might be a small advantage for Abhinav because he is from the India region and he's more familiar with APAC because he has competed in both regions. He has competed in an India qualifier and of course did qualify by winning a regional in North America. But I feel like a lot of the trainers, especially that qualify through regionals and international championships, they might not be as aware of these APAC trainers. And we know from the past, a lot of APAC trainers come in and go really far. In terms of the top 12 in the last 2 Worlds, APAC was actually the most represented region. So there's gonna be a lot of these trainers that you haven't heard of yet. They're gonna make it extremely far. And who knows, it could be Goji. That is gonna be our next matchup.
Yeah, this could be Goji's story. I mean, you're exactly right. So a lot of these APAC trainers, because they don't have a lot of broadcasts for their tournaments, they kind of come in and people don't really know what they have up their sleeve, and they're actually really talented trainers. I mean, all the ones here at the tournament are talented, but the ones that you have no data points on, you don't know what they run, what their strategies are, what movesets they're going to bring. It's going to be wild too. I mean, we had Golden Hada, second place finish in the first World Championship from Korea, and then Preston Angel's third place finish from Japan.
Mucho bla bla bla.
We got Goji coming from Korea as well, going into this, and these are some wild teams. I mean, Abhinav running a pretty meta.
Oh,
Comenta.
Wow.
Última batalla.
You got Wiggins up, you got Giratina Origin, you even got Whiscash. It's not even a Whiscash meta right now.
Wow, I mean, talk about not knowing what to expect, right?
Yes.
This is not only a trainer you're not familiar with, but a completely different team composition. We have seen cores like this before. Of course, Inadequence won with that Wigglytuff and the Giratina Origin core in the past. Talonflame we have seen in North America and Europe. Even Mantine, I think Ashton Ash did quite well with it in this iteration of the meta at the North American International Championships. And in Whiscash, this is actually an opportunity to talk about. Whiscash has dropped all the way off top 12 usage, if I'm correct. I think it wasn't even in there, and that is a Pokemon that, especially Doonbug, who won 3 regionals this season, was amazing with, and now it's not even meta.
Yeah, and I believe this is Goji's first ever Worlds qualification. First time on stage, first time on any broadcast. So very excited to see what he has up his sleeve. Giratina Origin, Ghost Dragon type. Not the easiest Pokemon to acquire. Definitely want to trade with some friends right through low friendship if you want to try to get one under that 1500 mark. I've used one myself, Butters, and it's an interesting Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
It does break up that double electric core of Lantern and Charjabug. And the Shadow Ball does a decent amount of damage, but Ominous Wind is a little underwhelming, especially if you don't get the boost. So we're going to have to see how Goji's going to pilot this Giratina. I think in the right hands, it could really do wonders.
It's extremely polarizing because if you match up against Lickitung, let's actually look if we can see the charge attacks. We'll see that soon, but I believe it is going to be the Ominous Wind. Yes, so there is no coverage on that Giratina. It only has Ghost-type attacks. So if you match up with the Lickitung, that is terrible. Not only are you going to hard lose that matchup, but you're going to set up that Lickitung with probably 100 energy and 40% health to be able to do something against your backline. But if you look at the rest of Abhinav's team, it's pretty strong, right?
Got play into everything.
Yeah, it's strong against Annihilate. It's very strong against Annihilate. You have to worry about the Night Slashes, but it's going to be really good against Water Gun Lantern. It's going to be really good against Shadow Quagsire. And in Skarmory and Shadow Gligar, it's just fine. So if you can avoid that Lickitung matchup, I actually think it's going to be really good in this series.
Yeah, it's got really interesting matchups into those, right? The pacing on the Giratina is going to be 7 to that Shadow Ball, whereas Skarmory's a little bit slower on their pacing, right? 8 to that first Sky Attack and Brave Bird, and then 8 to the subsequent Brave Bird, and only 7 to the Sky Attacks. But if Goji no-shields a Sky Attack, thinking that, you know, it's a bait and not the Brave Bird, then you're actually in a really good position because now you're going to outpace the Skarmory before they get to the next move. You're going to want Charge Attack priority, which is going to be a big factor as well.
And the huge benefit of this Pokemon in particular is that you're throwing Shadow Balls, but by the time, if it's a 1 Protect Shield situation, by the time they already Protect Shield a Shadow Ball and you've done 14 Shadow Claws, they're almost in Shadow Ball range, almost every Pokemon. So that's why it's so strong in those neutral scenarios, because if you let a single Shadow Ball through, plus that Shadow Claw damage, that could be a knockout. And remember, Abhinav won his regional championships with an iteration of Wadaj's team. He took Wadaj's team and made some small updates to it. He said he made Wadaj's team better, but Wadaj hasn't been competing recently, so I'm interested to see what iteration of this team he has for this tournament.
Yeah, I think Abhinav typically plays a little bit more meta, safe Pokemon too, and that's more his style, right? You want to have a lot of neutral coverage, not going for something like a Guillotine that gets hard walled by Lickitung, right? And, you know, not going for maybe Charge Bug that just gets hard walled by Gligar. I think he has a really solid team here. It really depends on how he could take out that Guillotine, because I think Goji's going to bring it, right? Because like you said, he has blade to everything besides the Lickitung, so why not, right? As long as you're not matched against Lickitung, you're in a good spot. Goji does have the Wigglytuff and the Registeel to beat the Lickitung, right? Those are wins that he could guarantee, especially if he's on even shields, even health. But the other Pokemon, a little bit harder, right? It's Whiscash, not the best answer to Lickitung. It does have some play, especially if you have shields, but not the best answer. Talonflame could be good if you ramp up that energy, ramp up that damage from Flame Charge. But again, kind of more neutral, and Mantine as well. So that Lickitung on Abhinav's side is actually, in my opinion, still fairly safe as well, because there's only really two answers to it, and really, it's just the Wigglytuff's not even the hardest of answers, really just the Registeel.
It's really hard to call because Goji's team is very polarizing. There are so many tough matchups, and I feel like we need to talk a little bit about this Wigglytuff, that there's only one thing that can resist that, which is the Skarmory there. Does that mean that the Wigglytuff Talonflame core could be strong enough? Of course, there are two water types on Abhinav's team, but do you have enough bench pressure to scare off those water types? Does the Giratina Origin scare off the Lantern because you just don't want to deal with that hard loss matchup? And then Shadow Quagsire doesn't seem necessarily super strong against this team because you have the Mantine, which actually is not a terrible matchup, but you just really can't guess wrong against a team like this. If you guess wrong, you might just lose. And it looks like we're locked into game number one. It is going to be the Skarmory into the Whiscash. So far, that's not a perfect lead for Abhinav, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, and this is the benefit of Quagsire, or Shadow Quagsire over Whiscash. Shadow Quagsire can actually win this matchup with shields up, going straight on the tail. But
Comenta. ¿Qué hace un Giratina Origen en 1500?
A little bit easier for the Whiscash, but you can see the Skull not doing even half the damage, doesn't get the debuff either, and we see Abhinav throwing this first Sky Attack. I don't think we're going to see a shield here from Goji, just because knowing that most players will not go for the Brave Bird right off the bat, is going to choose not to shield right to kick things off, and you can see the second Skull that's about to be reached.
Caleb, look at this Mantine in the back. He brought the three Pokemon that were the least polarizing on his team, and that Mantine in the back is going to be really strong against the Shadow Gligar and Shadow Quagsire. Of course, the Shadow Quagsire can get to that Stone Edge, but this is a Water Pulse Mantine. It doesn't have Ice Beam for the double super effective into the Gligar, but either way, that Mantine is going to be really strong against Abhinav's back line.
And you can see Goji actually fighting for switch advantage. I mean, switch advantage is interesting here because the Registeel really has nowhere to go, but you can see Goji throwing out Charge Attack Priority, trying to make the most out of this Whiscash. And the thing is, if Abhinav doesn't take out this Whiscash with a Skarmory, it's not easy to take out this Whiscash because you don't really have enough fast attack pressure to take this out easily, and you have to respect the energy from this Whiscash on both Pokemon.
And going for the Scald here, knowing that the Mud Shots aren't going to do enough, Goji is looking pretty confident here. He's looking for that debuff. Of course, the debuff chance has dropped to 30%. Can he still secure that debuff? I didn't quite see it because he pivoted instantly, and then here comes a counter pivot into the Mantine, and this is not what Abhinav wants to see, but at least he does have a Protect Shield advantage, so he can Protect Shield these Water Pulses.
This matchup is really not that bad, especially for the Gligar if you have a shield advantage or if you call the Water Pulse slash Ice Beam, right, depending on what moveset you're running. But Goji going straight for the bait play here. Abhinav hasn't even seen the third Pokemon yet. Do you respect this? Yes, Abhinav is going to respect the potential Water Pulse. That's going to be definitely playing favorably into Goji, but you can see the wing attack and the aerials is starting to add up. Abhinav not throwing before Charge Attack Priority here, so actually going to have to potentially shield again. No, choosing not to shield right away. Could have been a Water Pulse, but saying, you know what, I'm going to
what a call!
Happens, yeah.
What a
Goji surprised here too.
Yeah, he was even impressed. And here comes the Aerial Ace that will knock out, but does Goji want to keep this around to throw another Aerial Ace back at the Gligar, knowing that there is a ton of energy on the Shadow Gligar? I like that no Protect Shield from Goji. Goji is now going to have a tough time taking out this Gligar though, because Whiscash is so low. Can he get to a Scald? He needs to get to 3 more Mud Shots, but no, actually throws the double resisted Mud Bomb into this Protect Shield. I think Abhinav can hold on, and he calls it. What counting from regional champion Abhinav, the no Protect Shield, pivot Registeel, pivot into the Quagsire. Also, Quagsire is going to be tough to take out.
This is going to be an interesting matchup here too. I mean, Quagsire doesn't have the super effective Mud Bomb on this particular moveset. However, the Mud Shot damage in the Aqua Tail is going to add up.
Comenta.
But Quagsire is
_dale su madrazo.
now. do we see Abhinav shield up the Quagsire, or does he save that shield for the Gligar? Gligar actually has a lot of energy remaining.
Look at that exuberant energy from Goji there, even though he knows he's in such a tough spot. This is exactly where Registeals just get so clunky. In these in-games where you have these Pokemon that are chipped and low health, how do you finish them off? You have to get to these big charge attacks, and they just get shielded, and then now you have to throw another big charge attack to knock out, and then you have to get another one against the Gligar. You're just too slow against the pacing of these ground types of Shadow Quagsire and Shadow Gligar.
Yeah, Goji really wanted this Registeel on that Skarmory, but instead has a Registeel in the back against Double Ground, and Double Ground is not what you want to see on Registeel. Quagsire coming out to play. Octodale knocking out the Registeel, only a few more shots away, and Abhinav going to take this first game against Goji.
Wow, I mean, I feel like Goji had such great positioning in that mid-game. He did give up a Protect Shield in the early game, so Abhinav started out strong. But that mid-game with that Mantine swap, he felt like he was in a great position, but then was just cornered with that Registeel against the backline of the Double Ground for Abhinav, the Shadow Quagsire and the Shadow Gligar, which, I mean, there's not anything on Goji's team that really counters those Double Grounds, so I kind of expect Abhinav to lean on those two Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and both of them have play, right? You got Mantine that's supposedly the counter there, but
la cafetera nunca es cerradora. Mumacin. Comenta. No es spammer.
And this is a wild no shield ball, right? He had the Goji's face. You can see Goji saying, wow, really not going to shield, especially because Abhinav had a bunch of energy that could just gone to waste if it was going to be the Water Pulse, and then the no shield precision counting from Abhinav to really show why he is here on the World Championship stage.
Yeah, because if he missed that, then he would have got knocked out on his Gligar, and that Quagsire might not have been able to take out the Registeel, plus the energy on that Whiscash. Remember that was one Mudshot away from the Mud Bomb, so the fact that he was able to hold on with that Shadow Gligar, top level calls from Abhinav as they move on to game number 2. This would be, oh my goodness, this is what you never want to see. Goji knows it, the worst case scenario. The Giratina into the Lickitung, instant pivot into the Mantine, and Abhinav is probably going to chip and dip.
And that's a tough matchup here, and the tougher part for Goji is, what do you have for this Lickitung? You didn't bring Wigglytuff, you didn't bring Registeel, and this Lickitung looks strong into everything on your team. It actually has the potential to win all those head-to-head matchups, maybe not by itself, but Abhinav choosing to go for that chip damage and then now putting this Mantine in Stone Edge range. The question is, how hard is Goji going to fight for this switch advantage? Going for that Water Pulse, a harder hitting move to put this Quagsire now in Aerial's range.
But
and
Caleb,
the Abhinav baiting with the Aqua Tail, what a savage!
But to your point, Caleb, oh yeah, you get some protection. To your point, if Goji just won switch advantage to avoid that matchup and use both his Protect Shields, he's going to be so vulnerable with his Whiscash. It's going to be double super effective Power Whip from the Lickitung. This Lickitung is going to be able to sweep the entire back line. Now you're at the Stone Edge, but actually a little greedy there from Abhinav. You actually have to give up the Protect Shield here. Now, suddenly Abhinav is out of Protect Shields, and this Mantine pivots out into the Whiscash, and actually a little slow there from Abhinav. He throws the Stone Edge, which is resisted.
Yeah, a huge catch from Goji as well, just weaving in and out here, saying, you know what, I don't know if Switchman is going to help me much, because like you said, right, the Power Whip and the Lickitung matchup against this this Whiscash is not great either for Goji. But Abhinav's kind of in a tricky position here because this Quagsire has a lot of energy. Oh, and the throwing on charge attack priority here, not good for Goji because now, I mean, you don't get as much health left on this Whiscash, and you're even in lick range at this point.
Yeah, and the Whiscash hangs on to throw the Mud Bomb. Does no bubbles on it, but it still should secure the knockout. It's just, how are you going to get any damage on this Lickitung? Everything is going to be double resisted from the Giratina origin. It has Shadow Claw, Ominous Wind, Shadow Ball. I guess you just start going for some Ominous Winds and hope that you double boost and somehow get a victory out of that. Here is the Gligar banking up energy, trying to swap and then counter swap into the Mantine. Now, suddenly, you actually might get some chip damage in here because you can Protect Shield and at least land a Water Pulse.
Yeah, you know Goji shaking his head. This is a tough matchup here. Lickitung, one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the Championship Series, and you also have a health advantage into this Mantine. You can see he's shaking his head. Abhinav laughing a little bit, say, hey, you know, I got you here from this one too. Lickitung looking too strong. Lickitung, #1 user of World Championships for a reason.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why it's so risky to run that Giratina Origin. It's so neutral against everything but Lickitung and Vigoroth in this meta, but Lickitung and Vigoroth are just so strong. And now you got to go for it. You got to go for the Ominous win. Does he go for the boost here? And he does. He's going to go for it. This is his one shot, one opportunity to maybe get back in the series. You're going to need to see a two-stage boost here. Can Goji get it on this Lickitung? And no, he doesn't get it.
And you can see all smiles from Goji as well, doing his best here. Resisted charge attacks from Lickitung regardless, but Lickitung just too much health. And you can see Goji waving the camera. It's not over yet, Goji. You still have a chance. You have to fight your way through that loser's bracket, but it is definitely possible. But we're going to congratulate Abhinav for that 2-0 victory here to kick things off for him at Honolulu, Hawaii.
A fascinating team from Goji. I loved his energy throughout those battles, and Abhinav made the call on that bait game number 1, and then game number 2 made the team composition read with that Lickitung in the lead versus the Giratina, and of course bringing the double ground types, the Shadow Quagsire, the Shadow Gligar. Put that Lickitung on there. It's hard to stop. That's why they are so good in this meta, and that's why it's sometimes hard to run those polarizing matchups.
Yeah, definitely.
Comenta.
I believe Goji actually
Mala
ran that
batalla.
same exact team during
Mumasin.
the Korea qualifiers.
Wow,
Comenta.
To make it to World Championships.
Nos vamos.
However, the thing to note is that was actually a different meta, right? We had a slight meta shift, and that's why we're seeing a lot more Quagsire over Wishcatcher. You can see Quagsire even have a little slightly higher attack to win that charge attack priority. And just the coverage from Quagsire looks so safe, right? It's so much stronger into a lot of what's in the meta here. I mean, I think we're still going to see a few Wishcatcher here or there in this meta, but Quagsire looking definitely on top out of those water ground types.
No, absolutely, and we saw that at the North American International Championship from Out of Pocket, the only other tournament from North America in this meta. But let's actually take a look at the highlights from that last game, because I want to see that Abhinav call on the no protect shield once again. Actually, this looks to be game number 2 where he had to pivot into the Mantine. I really like the way that he was pivoting back and forth here, and Abhinav saw the swap there and then threw the Stone Edge, but that was resisted.
You know, sometimes you're just clicking for it. You
Yeah,
have
exactly.
A game plan in
Yes,
mind.
exactly.
But
yeah.
this charge attack priority definitely paid dividends to Abhinav. This was a hard match for Goji already, but that final charge attack priority was not what he wanted there. No boost on the Ominous win, and you can see he's laughing about it. He's like, wait, no, not going to happen here too. But I respect the Giratina play too. One of the spicier Pokemon to bring into World Championships. It has worked before, right? It's worked for Martine to win the regional that he ended up winning in Europe, but it is not the easiest Pokemon to pilot.
Yeah, and this was the game 1 no shield that let the Gligar hang on so that it could take that Mud Bomb and then win the game with the Shadow Quagsire in the back. If he made the wrong call there, it could have been a 1-1 series and then go to game number 3. And then if your Lickitung's not on that Giratina Origin in game number 3, that could have been trouble from Abhinav. But Abhinav looked calm and collected. A good 2-0 to start his journey in 2024 Pokemon Worlds.
Yeah, fantastic run for Abhinav. First time World Championship for him as well too. Definitely one of the stronger trainers we've seen in grassroots formats and in the official championship series. But qualifying this year for the first time definitely feels good for him to represent India as well. There's not a lot of Indian trainers, but they're definitely strong and in force here.
Yeah, and he's a seasoned trainer, not only in grassroots, but also in championship series. He's been competing since the beginning of Pokemon Go in the championship series, which was all the way back in 2022. And then now, of course, because of his regional win, but also he would have got the championship points to qualify either way. But impressive start from him and an impressive season for Abhinav, who actually kind of molded the meta in a way, because once he had his team that he won with, I think Lyles Jeff ran a very similar team, and then there was a Dune Lyles Jeff era for a couple months. It seemed like every other tournament was won by Lyle or Dune, but I feel like Abhinav did influence a little bit of that meta.
Yeah, I believe he was the first one to use that meta team here, and you know, making a few adjustments here or there, but again, relying on the fact that he knows he plays meta better than most players, maybe better than anyone, and going for those meta picks definitely paid off for him. I mean, meta is meta for a reason, right? Even if you love Giratina.
Yeah, and it's such a good point, because meta is meta for a reason, because when you're facing this polarizing team